Put them together for Wednesday on B&E. Be careful out there. Wet morning commute, slick streets, and colder temperatures, what you're dealing with. So be safe as you get up and out and roll in on this Wednesday morning, 8 February. Let me say happy birthday to my mother today, Buck.
Oh, Mrs. Hogan, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Nice.
Tie it back to LeBron James. I always tell you that my mother attended St. Mary's High School in downtown
for the
Akron,
girls,
Ohio.
right?
Yeah, and back when she was in school, it was St. Vincent's was the boys' school, and then St. Mary's was the girls' Catholic school. And after she was long gone, they put them together, and that's where LeBron James starred as a high school star at St. Vincent's St. Mary's High School in downtown Akron. We saw him make history last night. You'll hear it here coming up, but just happy birthday to my mother.
She had to wear a uniform. She had to wear a uniform to school then.
I won't say my mom's
Catholic
age, but
school.
she's a little bit older. Oh, yes, you wore a uniform.
Oh, yeah.
For real deal, St. Mary's.
Absolutely.
And the nuns. But she still works. She'll be sitting there
Absolutely.
listening to our show. And what is this retirement thing we talk about?
Retirement.
She's plenty past the ability to do so, but she's in her early 70s now, and she does medical coding right there from home. So she'll be working and listening to our show and chiming in on a text that she'll text me all the time. So happy birthday to Mom back in Houston. 8 February is your day, and that's also the day after LeBron James became the most prolific scorer in the history of the NBA. I saw where he played 150 or so fewer games than Kareem to get to the record, which is noteworthy. We're also talking some Texas football. Here's a text. Says, morning, guys. I think Savion Red will be fine at running back. Played all the positions at Grand Prairie and did them well. Kid has grit. I don't think he dropped any passes this year, but didn't get many targets. Yeah, when we saw Savion Red,
well, he didn't play that much.
He did. But he was one. When they kept looking for a third wide receiver, and everybody got their chance. But when they did throw him the ball, it was typically one of those little quick screens and get it out. And that's an extension of your running game anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, he just reminds me of a kid that's more of a running back than a wide receiver, just in his movements.
Yeah, and obviously that's what they've seen, and now they need help in that position. And
very similar to what Wayne McGarity was like.
That's good, but you moved into wide receiver.
Yeah. I mean, it was
just because you had no room at the end.
That's right. I mean, he was more of a wide receiver than he was a running back. Wayne McGarity was a special running back around the goal line, but by then I already had two guys. I mean, whether it was Priest Holmes or Ricky Williams, they could both get in the end zone. I didn't really need a specialist at the goal line, and Wayne could. Wayne's hands were unbelievable. I mean, great punt returner and a fantastic guy as a wide receiver.
When you moving him to wide receiver allowed him to play in the National Football League.
Yeah, he was never going to be a running back in the NFL.
Yeah, and of course played with the Cowboys, and because you had Priest Holmes and Ricky Williams and Sean Mitchell, and
that was
many
tough.
carries.
And that was a tough one to tell. I mean, that was tough to tell him. I mean, I just said, dude, there is just no room here.
Well, and think about how quickly the wide receiver room has filled up. I mean, the other side of that, with the new wide receivers coach and Chris Jackson coming in, there's just not going to be a lot of targets.
No, that dude knows what he's looking for. He knows about wide receivers. He knows exactly what guys, how they run, their movements. He's probably already seen that just in winter workouts.
Yeah, well, and the fact that if he does need more polish and more development with this current depth of receiver, might not get a lot.
That's right.
Because you got Xavier Worthy and Jordan Whittington and the healthy, I think, getting healthy Isaiah Nayer, and here comes A.D. Mitchell, who's already on campus, the Georgia transfer.
That's a lot of teaching right there.
Plus, Jonte Cook, the kid from DeSoto, is in, and he's an early enrollee. He's a kid who moved into a 5-star category as a player.
You've got a tight end that's got to learn some of those positions out there who can play those positions.
Yeah. No, it's a good problem, I think, to be able to move Savion Red into a place where, again, you're replacing Bijan and Roshan and all that production and an opportunity where maybe he's a more natural player at that position than receiver. Is going to take a lot of work to get him at receiver, so he's going back to running back. That is the report from inside Texas this morning. Hey, let's get to the other headlines, the trending topics, things you need to know as you get up and out on your Wednesday morning. UBO Business Services brings it to you, starting the NBA. Historic night in L.A. last night. The stars were out, star-studded crowd to see LeBron James try to become the most prolific scorer in NBA history. He needed 36 points last night to make it happen. And, well, late third quarter, he did just that. And there it is. The kid from Akron, Ohio, once labeled the chosen one on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 16. Connected on a step-back jumper to push his career total to 38,388 and break the record that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had held for nearly 39 years. Kareem was courtside to witness and congratulate LeBron afterwards over his family and mother. They also watched from courtside. He is now the all-time scoring leader. Lakers lost the game, by the way, to Oklahoma City, 133-130. Appropriate for the year they're having. In college basketball last night, K-State rolled past TCU up in Manhattan. That was the lone Big 12 contest, 82-61 final. In College Station, A&M held off Auburn, 83-78. High school hoops, big one on a win for Westlake. It was... You get more at flexatx.com, but they top Buda Johnson 58-55 to move into a top to tie atop that tough district 26-6A. Get more at flexatx.com. Football news, or as we mentioned, report this morning from inside Texas, the Longhorns have moved sophomore wideout Savion Red to running back during winter workouts. Also, if you missed it yesterday morning, Steve Sarkisian and the Horns added another highly rated in-state recruit. Warren Roberson, safety from Red Oak High School, signed his national letter of intent at a signing ceremony at his high school that was delayed by last week's ice storm. He's a top 50 player in the state by all the rankings. The DB becomes the 25th and likely final high school recruit in the class. In the NFL, reports this morning that the Vegas Raiders have given their quarterback Derek Carr permission to visit with the New Orleans Saints about a potential trade. Raiders need to cut or trade the 31-year-old before next Wednesday, or over $40 million on his contract will become fully guaranteed. Also yesterday, Aaron Rodgers, the Packers quarterback, revealed during his weekly visit on the Pat McAfee show that he plans to make a final decision on whether he will continue to play football or not following a 4-day darkness retreat that he plans to take after the Super Bowl. And there we go.
Let's just say, we have a new producer, guys. I know some of your, it's like shock therapy for you. Like here, little Miles, have some cheese and put your finger in this light socket here real quick. And yeah, the music is different. Someone said, I feel like it's 8 o'clock. Who played that music? It's supposed to be 8 o'clock. Is it 8? What is it? What is it?
It's Jack.
It's Jack. It's
Jack's decision. We sit in this room and watch, talk sports.
You guys can handle it.
He flies the plane.
You guys can handle it.
Our man Ty, we're wishing him well because Ty is going to have some surgery. Talked about it yesterday. He's having
nasal
deviated septum.
Yeah,
his sinuses cleaned out.
Yep.
Balloon sinuplasty. All
stuff that he's had for a long time has been bugging him.
Yeah, that he's been wanting to do. So he's going to have that done today and next.
I don't think it was
days.
From the tree that fell on the car. He wasn't in the car. It didn't hit him, did it?
No, he did not.
Okay.
It just fell on his car. But you weren't here for this. So not only did it fall on his car, Chad Hastings told him to move it. Hey, is that your car? You might want to move your car. Next thing you know, tree comes down on top of it. But then he tells me if he had been at home and not at work that morning, a tree would have fallen right where he parks at his house. A big branch came down right there in the driveway. And I was like, man, you were cursed. Your car was meant to get dinged.
Yeah, it was.
Because that's crazy. But yes, so he's gonna hopefully take care of that.
He's not. He's leaving the hole. I said, you know what's going to happen to the top of that, right? That will rust out, and eventually it's going to rain, and you're going to be like you were when you're just going to get just soaked. He goes, it won't happen. I said, no, those things rust out at those spots. If it's got that dent in it, you need to get that.
We're not back east. I don't, not a lot of rust these days down here, is there?
It does rain, though, but like we're going to get today.
We'll get it fixed for him. I'll get my guys over at Classic Collision to use formerly AMM Collision. They'll knock that thing out. We'll make that happen. But
he doesn't even know what his deductible is.
Now, he doesn't, we need him to grow up a little bit. 25 now. He needs to know about the deductible thing.
Yeah.
But he also needs to get this fixed. But the other part is he wasn't sure because there were people scaring him yesterday in the 9 o'clock hour that they're going to have to break his nose to start this whole process. Like, I don't think they're going to break his nose. And you're talking about getting out a rubber mallet, whacking him in the nose.
Get it started. Starting all over again.
Poor guy's in there panicking. It's like, what? What do you mean? They're going to get out a mallet?
I said, dude, they're going to knock you out. You're not going to know anything anyway until you wake up with those two black eyes.
And it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt.
Tina Turner.
But yeah, he'll feel a lot better. I mean, he's struggled with that.
Hey, so LeBron James did it last night. As this texter says, we're the same age. He says, I was 11 when Kareem broke the record originally from Wilt. I'm 50 when LeBron broke the scoring record. Time definitely marches on. That tells you the significance of what went on last night. I mean, you're talking about a record that has stood for almost 40 years, and it's been Wilt Chamberlain, then Kareem, now LeBron.
I don't even know who's the next guy in line. Who's the next guy? Would it be Durant if he stays healthy?
I think it's Kobe, but as far as somebody that could come get it?
Yeah. Curry maybe?
Steph, he'd have to play a long time.
Well,
Durant, scores enough and has started early enough. Because remember, Durant started at 18, or 19. This is part of this.
His injuries will keep him away from that.
I mean,
LeBron
LeBron
be pretty clean.
LeBron was scoring 15, 20 a night as an 18-year-old, right, straight out of high school. So that gives him a leg up. He's played close to 20 years in this league, or over 20 years in the league. It's just the consistency. It's the consistency. And here's the thing, right? When you think of the other great scorers who have, cracked the 30,000 or 30,000 plus number, Karl Malone, Dirk Nowitzki's over 30,000, Kobe. I mean, all these guys at the end of their career were a shell of what they were. I mean, Dirk was averaging 7 or 8 points in his last season.
Mm-hmm.
Kareem was averaging 13 points in his last season. Kobe was 18. He's averaging over 30 points again. He's on a terrible team. His general manager has done him no favors. They have not built a good team around him. After all the points, he's still scoring 30-plus a game and is as good a scorer as he's ever been. That's pretty darn impressive. And, I know a lot of people don't like LeBron James. That's fine. I'm a kid from Akron, so I've always rooted for him. But we're talking about the most hyped and most scrutinized athlete possibly ever, who you would argue exceeded the hype. I mean, he's exceeded when you're the chosen one at 16 at the time when Sports Illustrated is still, a massive publication.
Absolutely.
That everyone reads. That's a lot of pressure, and that's a lot. And then you get drafted 2 years later by your hometown team, and you play 7 years there. And because remember, when LeBron was in high school, he was more relevant and more popular than the Cavaliers were.
Well, he lived up to the hype just like Kareem lived up to the hype.
Yeah, and there's
Power Memorial. I mean, it was those are hard. Those things are hard to do.
That's when Kareem and Lou Alcindor had to go to college, had to play school, and went to UCLA and. Those are two of the most decorated and greatest players of all time. I'd also say for LeBron's side of it and where he stands, 10 finals he's been to. We talk about Tom Brady walking away with 10 Super Bowl appearances and 7 championships. I mean, LeBron's got 10 finals. He won 4 rings. He's won 4. He's got 4 finals MVPs, and he's still playing. 4th
in assist right now.
Yeah.
As that keeps on going also.
That's always been his strength, is to be an assist guy on top of it. So there's LeBron. We'll take your thoughts. Pretty good. This says, I did that surge about 4 months ago. The recovery was awful. Oh, no. Having your nose totally packed with gauze for a week. I ended up getting a hematoma on my septum. Had to have it drained, and then my nose repacked for another week. I've never want to hear
another mallet to the nose twice? Wow.
I never want to hear that phrase again. A hematoma on my septum.
Mm-mm.
No, thank you. Best of luck to Ty. Had that done in 2014. Drugged up a couple days, back 100% after a week. Worth it to finally breeze through my nose year round. It says Steph is halfway. He's about 17,000 points behind LeBron James. And that really is, if there's one word that's LeBron, it's been consistent. It's year in, year out. He's got a record right now of scoring 10 or more in a game, and it's at like 1,300. He doesn't miss games. He doesn't get hurt. And again, whether you love him or hate his politics or all that, it's hard to argue with his consistency, and he's one of the 2 or 3 greatest players of all time in the history of this league.
And this is a league full of unbelievable players and unbelievable stories, and his just continues on. As you said, from when he was 16 years old, when you get the chosen one and everything else thrown on you, and you then live up to the hype, you know what I'm saying? That's incredible.
Maybe exceed it.
Yeah, I would say
it's hard for a young guy. Just to and again, he's never been really in trouble off the court, which is impressive too. Done a lot of good for his community. So again, there's LeBron James. Let's dive into the Coach's Corner. It's brought to you by Audio Visual Consultations. You find it online at avconsultations.com. We'll pick that up here coming up. I saw this. Joe Lunardi. He does the bracketology.
Oh, the bracketology.
He's
man.
the bracketologist. You're the doctor of bracketology when the brackets come out.
Oh, when they come out,
picks.
When I take all those number 1 seeds all the way.
But right now, he's got his latest, updated yesterday, actually this morning, of the bracketology. And we have about a month where it's February the 8th. So next month it'll be, Longhorns will wrap up their regular season March 4th hosting Kansas. We know the Longhorns still sitting atop the Big 12 at 8-3, and they've got 4 games coming, 3 of them at home that are winnable for them as far as no ranked teams outside of Iowa State. But right now, here's what Lonardi has. His one-line seeds, the 1 seeds would be Purdue with Zach Edey, who's likely player of the year, Alabama, Houston, and Arizona.
Okay.
2 seeds, Tennessee, Kansas, UCLA, and Texas.
Makes sense.
Yep, has the Longhorns as a 2. But it's fair to say that, that's close enough. If the Longhorns could go 4-0 in their next 4, which they can do. I mean, you've got West Virginia, then you're going to Lubbock to play a 1-9 Texas Tech team. Then you're coming back home for back-to-back home games that are winnable. Iowa State would be the best team in this next 4-game stretch, and that game's here. If you could get yourself to 12-3 and those final 3 games with Baylor, that include Baylor and Kansas, Texas could play their way into a 1 seed. That's not out of the question where they are right now. But Purdue, Alabama, Houston, and Arizona. And, I'd love to see Houston playing. We'll get to see them in the Big 12 starting next year. Houston just doesn't have to play the level of competition night in, night out.
Dude, we're right down the road. The Final Four is right down the road from us.
It's in Houston.
Yeah.
It's in Houston this year, so keep that in mind. Tennessee, Kansas, UCLA, and Texas are his 2 seeds. 3, Marquette, Shaka, who lost last night. They got beat by UConn pretty badly. Iowa State, they're a 3 seed according to Lenardi. Baylor, that's Big 12. Virginia, and then the 4 seeds, K-State, Xavier, Gonzaga, and TCU. So a lot of Big 12 flavor in there. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Big 12 teams that would be either 2 through 4 seeds. That shows you how deep the conference is. Also on the bubble, by the way, he currently has 8 Big 12 teams in the tournament. So every team in the Big 12 would be in the field of 68, except for Texas Tech. And I think right now he would have Oklahoma State out. No, he's got them in. He's got Oklahoma State as one of the last 4 in.
Right.
Last 4 in currently. But a month to play. Longhorns sitting on the 2 seed line. They could play their way up potentially. But, man, you sit at a 2 seed, you play the 15 in that first matchup. Longhorns would love to see that. And you're right. For University of Houston and Texas and Baylor, I mean, the Final Four is in Houston at NRG Stadium.
That is unbelievable.
That's pretty cool. How about the teams that are on the bubble? Last 4 byes. West Virginia out of the Big 12, USC, Kentucky, and Arkansas. Who would have thought Arkansas, with the preseason hype, that they would be
still a very young basketball team.
A lot of freshmen. And the Aggies, unfortunately, even though they won last night, he still has the Aggies as a first 4 out. First 4 out, not yet in. So work to do.
Well, they get a couple of good wins in the SEC, which, they're kind of top-heavy, but they've got some really good teams.
Lenardi
Alabama,
has 6
Auburn.
SEC teams in the tournament, 7 ACC, 8 Big 12 and Big 10. So
Aggies need to win some games.
Aggies do. And they did. They won last night.
Mm-hmm.
The Longhorns, I just think the Horns are sitting in such a good spot. I know yesterday was a frustrating conversation about the loss and Tyrese Hunter's struggles and the slow starts and all the stuff, but it is nitpicking because they are sitting atop the best conference and they have a chance to stretch that out a little bit if they can take this week, because they don't play again until Saturday morning, 11 o'clock with West Virginia, and get some of these things sorted out. Take a deep breath. Because
and they're not big things.
No, they took that. I mean, that 4-game gauntlet was unprecedented to play 4 top 11 or top 10 teams in 4 straight games, 3 on the road. I mean, that is, you get to take a breath. Rodney said they're getting a day off. When they gave them a day off yesterday, remember they didn't leave the state of Kansas once they got there. They played 2 games up there. Now they come home. You see if this team can hit the court. And I would say this to the fans. Get on out there. That's an 11 o'clock game on Saturday at Moody Center. They're going to need that early crowd, because that can be a late arriving crowd sometimes. But 11 in the morning, still letting the coffee kick in, get after it. I also saw where the Texas women's coach Vic Schaefer has pledged $10,000 of his own money if they can get 10,000 or more fans to show up for their regular season finale. He's already promised that he's going to give $10,000 of his own cash to the neighborhood Longhorn.
That's awesome.
Program, which is really cool. That game is against Baylor. Remember, Texas beat Baylor earlier this year. They rarely beat Baylor, but that'll be February 27th at 6 o'clock. He wants to be able to give that money, so they're trying to get the crowd support up there for the women's side, who are also in first place.
Absolutely.
Atop the Big 12 Conference. So there you go.
Yeah, this week, I mean, West Virginia, that's one of those teams you got to be careful of too. All the teams.
We just said it with Lenardi. They're on the bubble.
Yeah,
they need wins. They need some quad 1 wins, as they call them, and Texas would certainly be that. But that's where it stands. We will continue these conversations coming up. We'll get back into the Super Bowl which is coming up on Sunday. It's probably the better roster and team in the Eagles against that guy, Patrick Mahomes. How healthy can he be? We saw what he did on one leg in the AFC Championship game. No running game either, and kind of willed his team to a win over the Bengals when they were underdogs. They're underdogs in this game as well. We'll get back into the Super Bowl preview, plus a little hot or not for the end of the hour on a busy but wet and rainy Wednesday morning here on the Horn. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK, folks. They are really ready to meet with you here in the new year and get this thing going. And if you wear glasses and contacts, and it's a hassle for you, maybe you like it. Maybe you're fine with the glasses and contacts. You're just used to it now. That's fine too. But if it is a hassle, the cost is with all the things, the price is rising, and you want to get out of those contacts for the long haul. There's really no reason not to call Sharp Vision, at least learn about it and get that free eye test. Book an appointment online or call them. You get in there, you can use that FSA rollover money. That's the pre-tax cash you've been stockpiling there. Go ahead and go use that to correct your vision and get yourself out of the glasses and contacts and seeing clearly every time. Right when you wake up, you're seeing 20/20 again. And as we tell you, they have 9 of 10 people who get in there and get that eye test discover that they do, in fact, have a procedure that can correct the vision. That's 9 out of 10. That's a very high percentage. And again, they have guaranteed financing to help you fit the budget, that FSA money. They've got procedures that start as low as $495 an eye, and they are the best of the best. 3 years running, according to the Austin American-Statesman readers at Sharp Vision Modern LASIK. They're right there, right by Q2 Stadium, not far. Between that and Top Golf is where you're going to find Sharp Vision. Great location, great people. Call them, 512-596-2020. That's 596-2020, or online at sharp-vision.com. Sharp with an E, -vision.com. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK, the official LASIK provider of Austin FC. B&E on the horn on a Wednesday. Our man Jack producing the show this morning, doing a nice job.
Happy Jack.
Happy Jack, yeah. He will help us with some hot or not topics coming up as Ty has his work done on his sinuses. This is, I had that nasal surgery. Awful recovery. Had an infection 11 months. Don't do it. People are terrifying Ty if he's listening right now. I would also say my mother on her birthday, Buck, texted to say, tell Bucky I wore a uniform to Catholic school for 12 years.
12 years, yeah.
12 years at St. Mary's High School in downtown Akron.
I wore the little tie.
Ohio. Here's a good text. You guys keep in mind that current NBA players from the last 10 years or so are very accustomed to load management. It would take them even longer to amass the required stats to break that record. I don't think it can be broken now. That's true. I do mean for a long time, because it was held for almost 40 years by Kareem. A lot of people thought that was an unbreakable record. I mean, this one could become an unbreakable record in the NBA because LeBron is only 38 and he's still playing and scoring 30 a night. So the number is going to continue to go up.
Yeah, until he plays with his son, he's going to keep on putting numbers up there.
And, you know, that's true. And to the texter's point, the load management thing. Now, remember, the NBA is getting rid of the one-and-done rule here coming up with the new collective bargaining agreement, so players will be able to go just like LeBron did straight from high school to college, or not have to go to the year in college. That's coming to an end. But, yeah, I agree. Now, the load management thing is interesting because a couple of weeks ago, Stan Van Gundy, or no, it was Jeff Van Gundy, one of the Van Gundy brothers, he took to his Twitter account and made a very astute point. Oh, well, it was Stan Van Gundy, not Jeff. He said 90s NBA teams had just a trainer and a strength coach. They practiced more often and harder, and they played more backs-to-backs, and teams now have huge medical and performance staffs. They value rest over practice, yet injuries and games missed are way up. Something's not working. I think that's very interesting. I'm not criticizing players. I'm saying that we're getting something wrong how we prepare and train these players. That's very, very true, right? I mean, the more we do load management and the more it's like you got to protect these guys for the playoffs, it does feel like more and more guys get hurt. I mean, go back to when basketball was basketball in the 90s. I mean, it was a brutally physical game. Guys didn't take nights off. They did practice hard. And what do you think has led to?
Well, they work hard. They're off the court training. You know what I mean? I know you've got your regular training there, but some have individual trainers. And I mean, the training regiments I got to be a little bit harder.
Now?
Yeah. As they prepare themselves, I mean, the body takes, I mean.
It's more specialized now for sure. And as he said, you have these elaborate training staffs with all these different ways to train. But, you know.
But I think you train just as hard or harder than back in the day.
But they don't play as many games, and they don't practice nearly as much, which I think has impacted the quality of the game itself.
Oh, yeah, as Stan said, I mean, when they had off days of practice, they practiced.
Hard.
It wasn't just shoot-arounds.
Yeah, I mean, yet injuries are up, and it seems like more and more often we see these star players missing multiple games and long stretches, and not like there weren't injuries in the 90s and into the 2000s, but it does feel like Van Gundy's right that load management may not be working. I mean, maybe playing more. I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. It's just players today. Got to be a reason for it. We'll take your thoughts on it. Specs text line 512-337-3776. But LeBron James got it done. Let's also remember with Kareem, Buck, he never made a three-pointer. That's also to be noted. LeBron's made plenty of threes in his day.
He owned the paint.
He owned the paint, the skyhook, baby.
Man.
He also owned his role in Airplane.
Yes, he did.
I mean, come on, man. It says, EU feel okay. No, I feel good. Got a little raspy throat. I did take my Z-Pack yesterday, Buck. My first meeting.
Oh, man, those are.
I took the 2 pills, and I'll take one and one and one. I'll get through it.
I've been pretty fortunate. I haven't had the Z-Pack in a couple of years now. I don't have the minor things like
I don't know what
COVID.
happened.
I have strokes. I don't have those little minor.
Well, thanks a lot.
And plus, I'll never have the flu, so we know that.
Never have the flu. I just woke up on Sunday morning, little sore throat, and next thing you know, I'm going froggy. So get ahead of that. I'll be all right.
I got a call from one Brad Kelders who let me know that he was struggling last week from the flu. And he said, you know what, I forgot to say I'll never have the flu. He said, I haven't talked to myself about that. And he said, and then I got the flu. I said, well, all you have to do is tell yourself you'll never have the flu. Should be okay.
We have to get BK on the show, talk some Houston sports, and D'Amico Ryans is in, and also the Houston Cougars sitting as a 1 seed right now in the top 4. For Kelvin Sampson, we'll take some.
I watched them play last week. Man, what a team they have. That backcourt, that Sasser kid is unreal. How many years does he get to play?
A lot these days. Well, the thing with Houston is that the level of competition they're facing in in the American Athletic Conference is, how good is it? I mean,
Well, I think you'll find out a lot about a team like Cincinnati's not bad. Tulane's not bad in their con. They got like three or four teams. Is Temple in their group?
Well, there's a difference between not bad and being really good. And
no, it's not the Big 12. It's not Kansas.
Right. And, that becomes, when I look at the American Athletic Conference currently has 2 teams in the tournament. Houston would be one of them. 2 total, according to Joe Lunardi. So I'm not doubting what Kelvin Sampson's done and what he's doing. He's doing a great job. But guess what? Next year, they're going to get a big comeuppance when they start playing in the new Big 12, because the Longhorns will be in the Big 12 for another year at least in basketball. And we know what goes on in this conference. And next year it becomes a 14-team conference. Houston, if they're still playing as a 1 seed next year and sitting at number 1 in the country or number 2, then you'll say, because they're a good team. But it's just the grind. They don't have to face that game after game grind that you do in the Big 12. I do think a lot of that is why the last 2 champions have come from the Big 12 conference, and three of the last 3 times they've played the Final Four, the Big 12 has had a team in the championship because Texas Tech was there when they lost to Virginia. Not to say Houston's not good.
When you look at them, they're not West Virginia. They're more like K-State at times when you watch the way they play, and their backcourt, and they're what you call big men. I mean, they're very similar to K-State, I believe.
Yeah, they are.
And they're not like
great backcourt.
Yeah.
And Kelvin Sampson, we know what he does on the defensive end and coaches up the physical brand of D. But coming from that conference, we'll see. But right now they are on the 1 seed line, according to Joe Lunardi, in college basketball. So we got hoops on the brain, high school, college, and pro basketball for sure. We've also got the Super Bowl coming fast and furious on Wednesday. On this Wednesday, we got 3 or 4 more days before it kicks off at 5:30. What are you doing the Super Bowl plan at your house?
Yeah,
just straight up.
I just do some devil eggs, and.
But it's just you and the wife.
Yeah, I mean I like to watch the games. I know
too.
People go to parties and all that stuff. I really do like to watch. I mean, I don't get that all day stuff where I got to see every commercial and all that. That doesn't matter to me. If I catch them, I catch them. But I like about an hour before the game, hour and a half before the game.
The commercials have become kind of not as good. I mean, there's only so much you can do to make people pay attention. But at the same time, I
like the stories that lead up to the Super Bowl.
And I do too. And there'll be some great ones in this. I mean, obviously the Andy Reid angle will be told. The Kelseys head-to-head in the Super Bowl for the first time.
2 quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks from Texas. Both black quarterbacks is a big one. And they'll do digging and find some great storylines that around this game. Are you ready for some prop bets? Lee Sterling will be on our show Friday to help us with his favorite prop.
I'm going tails to start off the win this year.
And remember this with Lee Sterling. He'll be with us Friday at 9 o'clock. Lee from ParamountSports.com. He lives in Miami, and his daughter, who was a cheerleader at Miami, the U, back in the day, she's sung the national anthem all over the world country. Right?
Yes.
She's a great singer, great vocalist. Like she sings the anthem at the Heat game and all this stuff all the time. And so every year he comes on and she does the due diligence and the research of the Super Bowl national anthem performer. And she's gotten it right every time. Every time Lee gives it to us, he's right because she's paid attention. You know who's doing the anthem this year? Chris Stapleton. The great Chris Stapleton. And it's like 2-0 something. I would lean under, but then somebody told me yesterday that typically when it's a country singer, they tend to go over because they try to
they twang it out a little bit, do they?
And I just saw, Chris Stapleton doing a great performance with Stevie Wonder the other night in the Grammys, which was awesome. I look forward to that. But he will sing the national anthem. 2 minutes and 5 seconds is the over-under for Chris Stapleton. And then you can also bet on when he says the length of the word brave in the national anthem, the final word. You can bet on that. I don't think you will, though.
No. I like to listen to that one. That's the one I listen to.
Of course, Rihanna is the halftime entertainment, the Barbadian Rihanna. Are we excited about Rihanna? Because I know I was excited when they did the hip-hop one in L.A. I was, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm pumped. I'm not the biggest Rihanna fan, but I'll pay attention. I'll watch it. You can bet on her first song. Is it going to be Don't Stop the Music? Is it guess? That's the highest odds, or best odds. So there you go. So we'll get the prop bets. Lee Sterling. Also today, by the way, speaking of 9 o'clock today, from Radio Row at 9 o'clock, we're going to talk to Brian Billick. Brian Billick.
Very
He
nice.
is the former Baltimore Ravens coach who now does great analysis on TV. Get his thoughts on this game. Brian's won a Super Bowl as a head football coach. He'll be with us from our location on Radio Row. Appreciate Super Bowl Stu Myrick for lining that up. That'll be a good convo. And you know what I have recorded that I haven't watched yet on my DVR is the 30 for 30 on Baltimore, the Ravens. I think it's called the Bullies of Baltimore or something like that, or the Baltimore Bullies. I need to go watch that because that was – we talk about great.
It's an ESPN deal?
Yeah, it's a 30 for 30.
Okay.
I've got them all recorded, and I need to go back and start combing through some. That's one I need to see because that was we talk about the best defenses in Super Bowl history. It's the 85 Bears. It's the 2000 Ravens. And I keep saying this about these Eagles. These Eagles have a chance to break the sack record that the Bears set for a season. This team can play some defense. Their secondary can be gotten sometimes, and this is where you look at Patrick Mahomes. But at the same time, this pass rush, they go 7-8 deep with guys they can rotate in there, keep them fresh, and get after the quarterback. And they
I know they need 5 sacks to do it. I don't see 5 sacks
with a limited mobility quarterback potentially.
Yeah, but I still don't see 5. That'll be a lot.
Well, the one thing you see with the Eagles this year is when they get pressure, they get the quarterback down, and they hurt 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, they did,
and they get it from the interior, the edges, but they also get it from the interior with guys like Ndamukong Suh. I don't know. Can they get 5 sacks to pass the Bears? I don't know, but I just, if Patrick Mahomes were 100% healthy, maybe. But, and you go back to what Mahomes did in that AFC Championship game on one leg to throw for 326 yards and 2 touchdowns with no running game at all. Still impressive as it can be what he did to get them to this point. But have they met their match here in this Philadelphia Eagles group? That becomes it. Because, again, Jalen Hurts and the offense get a lot of headlines, but in the end, if they can win this game, and because the last time the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl, they faced the Buccaneers, and they scored like 9 points. And it was that pass rush of the Buccaneers that savaged Patrick Mahomes in that offense. It was also the fact that the Chiefs had a banged-up offensive line.
Yeah,
in that
Brown
game.
and Hurts hadn't got together. It seems like a while since they had a big game, like a monster game.
Yes.
A.J. Brown. So that's the guy I'm looking to have a big game in the Super Bowl.
A.J. Brown. He gets some single coverage. He'll get some single coverage because that run game, they got to be able to play downhill and stop that RPO game.
And they got those rookies in the secondary.
Oh, yeah. Jump some routes. This says Kareem made 1 all-time three-pointer. 1 all-time 3. Did not know that. This says Bucky gets busy with his wife at halftime. That's
prop bet.
Probably. I got the yes. I got the check mark.
Yeah.
I got the check mark. Here's a prop bet. It says, will Rihanna's halftime show be a devil-worshiping ceremony like Sam Smith's at the Grammys? I don't know about that. Sam Smith, that song is called Unholy, though. That's the name of the song that won the Grammy the other day. Kansas City is 2nd in sacks for the year. That's what this text says. That is true. And, Chris Jones, their man,
dude, when
daddy.
they put him out there at the end, that's I don't care who it is at tackle. He's a problem when he lines up wide.
He's climbing the ladder of the all-time playoff sack leaders.
Oh, yeah.
And his performance in the AFC Championship game was pretty legendary. He was unbelievable. He was just a wrecking crew against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. When they needed a big play and a big third down, he was hitting or knocking out Joe Burrow in that game.
And he feels like he has not played up to his best in Super Bowls, and he really wants to try to rectify that now. As I said to you, when he lines up in that wide line alignment, he's out there really one-on-one, and he doesn't give a rat's ass about your running back chipping him. He'll break your running back's neck. If your running back sticks a shoulder out there, he'll break his neck. So
this is probably not funny, but in my own head, whenever I see Chris Jones, and he's become an all-pro player, he's one of the 3 or 4 best defensive players in the league, but I always think of his combine. Remember, he was the big defensive lineman that was running the 40, and he fell at the end when he got to the tape, and he got up, and his wang was hanging out. Remember, like the AstroTurf pulled his.
You mean my wang?
My wang, yes. His man thing was hanging out.
Come on, man.
Yeah, because he went straight down, and of course the turf tugs on his spandex there, and he stands up. He doesn't even realize it.
And my came out?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now they had to blur that out on NFL Network, but that was Chris Jones when he was at the Combine.
Dude,
way back
we are about a month away, right? Really close to the Combine too. After this is over with the Combines, it's a matter of weeks.
Oh yeah,
that is great stuff.
It all cranks up. Derek Carr could be traded before the Super Bowl or soon after. We'll get you the details on that coming up. The NFL offseason. Yeah, it's become a 24-hour.
What I don't need is Aaron Rodgers to retire right now. I need for him to
He'll find out
go
after
into the
this.
dark for 4 days and give us a hint of what he's going to do.
Hey, we'll hit some hot or not topics, things we've missed halfway through this show. We'll be at the halfway point at the top of the hour. We will talk about that Derek Carr move. Do you like the Saints as an option for him? Was that the first of many quarterback dominoes to fall this offseason? We'll talk about it with you here on B&E.
Folks, Jaguar Land Rover of Austin, when is the best time to buy one of those cars or SUVs? Why not today? It's a unique car buying experience that you deserve, of course, and Don Snell Sr. and the Snell Motor Company believe it is a privilege to be the provider of all of your automotive needs. Say hello to Brandon and Pre-Owned while you're there. Cheyenne and Poppy greet you at the door, and 6 service advisors are there to help you with your decision on making that choice on one of the cars or SUVs. And the best general manager in the business, Damon Spears, is there. They are the 9-time Pinnacle Award winner for overall performance in the automotive industry. They're the top 20 in the nation. And while you're there, do experience a no-obligation test drive the Discovery Sports, the Range Rover, or the F-Pace Jaguar. And the 2023 Defenders are there awaiting you. If you want to work for a great company, give them a call today at 512-236-0000. There are opportunities at every level. Come experience the team at Jaguar Land Rover of Austin. Jaguar, no ordinary cat, no ordinary car, and of course Land Rover, above and beyond. 1515 5th Street, Austin, Texas.
Hot and not on a wet Wednesday, National Boy Scouts Day. National Boy Scouts Day. I never made it to Boy Scouts, Buck.
I was a Cubby.
Me too. Cub Scout Weebelo. I was a Weebelo.
I was a Weebelo and a Cubby, and then that was it for me.
That was it. Then I started liking girls, and I bailed out.
Liking girls, played in sports, and didn't like
Got
camp
a paper
outs.
route and stuff like that.
Oh, that paper route. Oh.
Tough to do, Boy Scouts with a paper route. Needed to make some moolah. But yeah, we got a lot to do here, including, are you hot on this? We talked about it a little yesterday, but now more revealing coming out that maybe Kevin Costner's run is done on Yellowstone. Apparently he's asking for, for the first half of season 5, he had cut back number of days he was willing to shoot pretty significantly, and now he wants to only shoot for a week for the second half, and they're about to just write his character off of the show.
Who does he think he is? Harrison Ford?
Well, he's got a new show he's putting together.
Oh.
He's got a new big epic Western he's doing for one of the other broadcast networks, so he's tied up over there doing that, old Kevin Costner. And and as we told you yesterday, the reports are that Taylor Sheridan and Paramount are potentially in negotiations with our own Matthew McConaughey to be part of they made us pick up a new spinoff show kind of Yellowstone, but in a different ilk, and that McConaughey would become the lead dog. Is that, we've seen
Tell me right, from locally?
I don't know if it would be remember Yellowstone had the one part of season 4 where they went to the 666 ranch here in Texas and did a lot of stuff here. You wonder if that would be part of it. And of course, McConaughey would fit in pretty well in that. And look, McConaughey has become quite the actor, right? And we started with Dazed and Confused, but we've seen him do some pretty dramatic characters in his time now. So yeah, he could pull it off. So we'll see.
For sure.
Hot on that? I would be hot on that. Are you hot on this number? That it now the most that according to a new piece of research, that children become more tech savvy than their parents by age 12.
I was going to say that was the number just in my head. I thought around 12 years old, I would think.
By age 12.
And then they're done out of that at 17 are done.
I guess, yeah. That the 1 in 7 parents have had kids that have outwitted them and disabled things like parent controls on social media, and to more tech savvy by 12. That's how quickly the tech is developing. This is 666 ranch, 4 6s. Oh yeah, I said 666. Sorry. All right. So our producer this morning is Jack Farrell. He's doing a great job.
Jack Farrell.
Jack, do you notice anything on Hot or Not that we've missed halfway through this Wednesday edition?
Something that caught my eye, a Super Bowl party pack kind of a thing.
Nice.
$1 million for you and 11 of your closest friends can go hang out with Shaq, Gronk, and Guy Fieri. You get security detail, unlimited vodka and champagne, a fleet of SUVs, a VIP bathroom, a spa day, and concerts by Machine Gun Kelly and the Chainsmokers. $1 million price tag on that.
For how many friends? You and how many?
11?
11.
Okay, you guys split
So
it.
a dozen of you, huh?
Maybe we could do that. That sounds kind of fun, actually. Chainsmokers are pretty good. Shaq would be good to hang out with, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just go to the neighborhood party. Just do that. How about that?
Yeah, that'd cost you less than $1 million.
Yeah. Well, you get enough friends, you could divide it up, pay $100,000 each, or what would that cost? Yeah, just get this thing done. But I would be enjoyable. That would be an enjoyable day. But you're good. You got your own party. You got your own halftime festivities.
Absolutely.
So you're ready. You're ready. Speaking of the Super Bowl and watch parties, we are going to talk to Brian Billick in our 9 o'clock hour, former Baltimore Ravens coach, his assessment of this game. Who does he favor, Eagles or Chiefs? Also more on the matchup of Pat Mahomes and Jalen Hurts and these guys. Take your thoughts on that. Would you be a part of it? Shaq, who else did you say?
Gronk and Guy Fieri.
Oh, Gronk might get annoying. Now, is Gronk going to bring one of his girlfriends
The
with him?
Gronkettes coming?
The Gronkettes? Now you're moving in a better direction. All right, good stuff there, Jack. I like that question. That's interesting. Super Bowl parties we know will be the most watched show. Is it fair to say in Hot or Not that the NFL, we know that the AFC Championship game did like a $54 million rating, which was just ridiculous. Almost Super Bowl-like numbers for the AFC and NFC Championship games. And then the Pro Bowl, which is a flag football game.
Oh, God.
You realize this? So the NBA had a Mavericks-Warriors game on Saturday night, And then the next night, ABC, same network, had that Pro Bowl flag football game. 6 times the viewership. 6 times the viewership to watch the NFL flag football Pro Bowl versus.
People will watch XFL football.
Yeah, they were.
And they will. They really will this spring. Man.
Okay. By the way, how much did you say that was? $1 million?
$1 million wholesale. So $1 million is basically 12 tickets.
Get those fleet of cars, too.
Unlimited vodka and champagne.
Oof.
Somebody will pay for that.
Of course they will.
Remember, speaking of Kevin Costner, he was selling the ability to stay at his own ranch, not the Yellowstone Ranch, but his own ranch in like Colorado for 3 days, and it was like ridiculously expensive. I wouldn't do any of those things.
No.
Save your money. Go to your own Super Bowl party. It's B&E on the Horn, 1049, 1019 AM 1260, streaming always on your Horn app, on your smart speaker, and always at hornfm.com. Dr. Greg Eckert, folks, and his wonderful team there at the Dr. Eckert Dentistry, and we know what they're all about there, right? They want to, they're dental pros and Dr. Eckert. They want to maintain and manage and create the ideal oral health treatment plan for you, but they also make a commitment to creating and designing the smile that you will always love. And if that's part of the deal, that you want a new smile, you've been told you need it. You're uncomfortable. You just lack confidence in social settings and in Zoom meetings and all the things that we do these days, taking pictures, or you eat. And every time you eat, you can feel it, and your teeth hurt, and there's pain. Dr. Eckert can get you that new smile. And the greatest thing about it right now is with the new technology and the advances they've made, they can get you that new permanent smile in one day, one trip in. You'll spend no time without teeth. It is a one-day situation. You go in with the smile you're unhappy with and come out with the smile you love. And Dr. Eckert can do it for you with his team. It's permanently secured dental implants. It's the new wave. And all you got to do to find out if this is an option for you is call Dr. Eckert and his team and set up an appointment. Get in there for a consultation. 345-3166 is the phone number. That's 345-3166. You'll learn all about them. They are tremendous. But again, a new smile in a day, 24 hours. I'm going to be getting in there, getting some work done to improve my smile in a day, which I'm excited about as well. And I'll show you the before and afters and how easy it can be. Dr. Eckert will help you do the same thing. 345-3166 is Dr. Greg Eckert. That's Eckert with a U, U-E-C-K-E-R-T. Wednesday on B&E. Saw this morning where Austin Energy says currently 99.57% of all customers have power back.
There you go.
But there are still 423 active outages. So there's 423 places with going on their 8th day of no power.
Man.
But most of them fixed, and that's a good thing. We're back at it. Rain this morning, and hopefully overnight, had that storm move through, and there were some straight line winds. There were fears of like some loose branches maybe coming down, causing more issues. I'm not sure that ever happened, but looking better. But boy, man, if you're on your 8th day with no power, you are beyond frustrated. We're also talking LeBron James and the scoring mark that was broken last night in the NBA. Also, caught up in the LeBron thing is that Kyrie Irving had a press conference yesterday in Dallas, Buck, and he's ready to join the Mavericks.
When is he? When are they going? He and Luka going to play at the same time? Are they waiting to do that together? Is that what the deal is?
Is Luka healthy too? That's also the question too. But yes, I mean they made that move, and I mean obviously the conversation is it was a deal they couldn't pass up. They had to at least show Luka Doncic they're trying to acquire help for him and acquire that next star. Mark Cuban, really since he blew up the team after they won the championship with Dirk Nowitzki, the free agent destination of Dallas has never really blossomed, right? It's never you almost have to trade for it. You almost have to trade for, and they did that with who's the big dude from the Knicks, the 7'3" guy,
Porzingis.
Kristaps Porzingis. They tried to make that the next guy, and it didn't work. And now it's going to be Kyrie Irving at least for half a season now. Coming in. But we'll try to hear some of his comments. Also, bottom of our hour, we're going to talk to Jerry Hamilton from Inside Texas, get his thoughts on these Texas football developments. The 25th and final high school recruit committed yesterday, and Warren Roberson, who is from Red Oak, Texas, finally was able to get back into school and have a signing ceremony because the school was closed all last week with the ice storm. So he finally commits to Texas. We'll get a scouting report from Jerry, and on the report at Inside Texas this morning that the sophomore-to-be wide receiver Savion Red going to move to running back, and we'll talk to Jerry about that.
I like that move early in his career to do that and not figure out why he's a junior or senior if he's a fit for the wide receiver position at this present time. With the talented kids they have right now, it's good to make that move.
Well, it makes sense in that, we'll get Jerry's thoughts on it because I know he saw Savion play in high school. But in high school at Grand Prairie, he was quarterback. And he was kind of a Swiss Army knife, did everything, and he ran more than he threw. So he's got the natural running skills. And his move to receiver here was, they recruited him as an athlete. I mean, he's just an athlete. We're going to find a spot for him. And, first year was wide receiver because they needed depth out there, and he cracked the rotation a little bit, got some catches. But now it looks like maybe the more natural position for him is going to be that running back room with Tashard Choice. And so we'll talk to Jerry about both of those things, plus some Longhorn hoops with the Horns through that 4-game gauntlet for Rodney Terry, and now looking for home cooking on Saturday against West Virginia. We'll preview that game coming up. Also, Craig Way has his report. As we mentioned in our next hour, top of it, we'll have Brian Billick from Radio Row, our first Radio Row conversation. Brian Billick from the convention center there in Phoenix, getting ready for Super Bowl 56. Or 57. 57.
57. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, you'll be tuned in. This is one of the better, at least on paper, Super Bowls we've seen in a little bit. They're all good, but man, to have the two top seeds, number one seeds, both teams are 16-3 on the season. Both teams really dominated their regular seasons in their conference. You have the 1 and 2. I think when the MVP is announced, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes followed by Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's going to be 1-2 and MVP. You got the number 1 sack team in the league against the number 2 sack team in the league. Both teams have excellent offensive lines. Both teams have great coaching staffs. I mean, it's there's not a lot not to like about this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, if Kansas City can hold up their end of the bargain on defense, this will be a really exciting, really close matchup, I believe.
Let me correct myself. I said that Chris Jones was climbing the all-time postseason sack ladder. It's actually Frank Clark, his teammate, that is up to like 13 career postseason sacks. He's the one. I think Willie McGinnis is the leader right now, all-time postseason sacks with 16. But yeah, Frank Clark is coming. So it's not just Chris Jones; it's Frank Clark, and both teams can throw tremendous.
And D Ford is no longer with them.
No, they traded D Ford.
Yeah, he didn't die, but he's not with that group.
He was the guy that lined up off sides.
Oh, come on, D.
That
cost me. You gave Brady an extra play.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about that. If D Ford doesn't line up offsides in that AFC Championship game in frigid conditions in Kansas City,
They're in another Super Bowl.
They're in another Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes would be in, his third or fourth already in his 5 years as a starter. And that really is what the Eagles have to
And
contend
nobody
with.
made him jump. He lined up offsides.
Oh, yeah. He lined up offsides. And if you remember, that game ended up going to overtime.
Oh, man.
But on the play that D Ford lined up offsides, Tom Brady threw an interception. And the game would have been over at that point.
Yes,
it would have never
been
gone to
over.
overtime.
That's right.
But, of course, the interception was called back because D Ford lined up offsides.
Man.
Uh-oh, this says E. Hogan. This is going to be the worst Super Bowl ever. I'm so glad that I don't have to watch the scripted trash. Okay. Yeah, there are those who believe it's scripted. I'm not one of them.
Like the whole game?
Yeah. Well, because the
really?
Bengals Chiefs game was scripted.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, okay. I think Arian Foster, too, the former Texans running back, is making some allegations about the script.
Oh,
that is out
no.
there. Yeah, well, you know what? It's your choice. It's a free country.
That's right.
I will be watching. You will be watching and eating devil's eggs.
Absolutely.
You know, I take heat all the time. Can I read you an email that we got when we were talking about the Grammys the other day when Willie Nelson, Body Rate, Ozzy Osbourne all won Grammy Awards? Look at this. This is what we got, Buck. I'm getting sick of sent to our boss to the top. Like this went to the top. I'm getting sick of your on-air DJs thinking the Grammys were good. If that's the case, does the Horn FM worship Satan? Aaron Hogan and Bucky seem to think it was good. They admitted it. We must worship Satan. So there you go.
No, I do not worship Satan.
And you didn't watch it?
No, and I didn't watch it.
I did. I enjoyed it. Let's get to your headlines trending. By the way, we appreciate all the contributions to the program from the fans.
Sometimes.
Let's get to the headlines. Top Gun Equipment Rentals bring you the news. Yeah, NBA historic night in L.A. last night, and anticipated LeBron James had an opportunity to crack and become the leading scorer in the league all time, and he did just that. He is now the most prolific scorer in the history of the NBA. Did it late in the third quarter. Here is the call on TNT. There it was on TNT last night. The kid from Akron, Ohio, once labeled the chosen one on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 16, completed a step-back jumper to put his career total to 38,388 points. It breaks the record of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that it held for nearly 39 years. Kareem was courtside to witness and congratulate LeBron afterwards. So was his family. And it was a star-studded crowd to see the record broken. By the way, Lakers lost the game 133-130 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. In college basketball last night, the only Big 12 game saw Kansas State roll past TCU 82-61. College Station, Aggies beat Auburn 83-78. College high school hoops. How about the big game of the night? Westlake top Buda Johnson 58-55. They move into a tie atop District 26-6A. You get more on that over at flexatx.com. Texas football, we mentioned we're going to talk to Jerry Hamilton coming up on the latest recruit for the Longhorns and the report that Savion Red, the wide receiver, moving to running back. In the NFL, it is reports this morning the Vegas Raiders have given quarterback Derek Carr permission to visit with New Orleans Saints officials about a potential trade. Raiders need to cut or trade the 31-year-old before next Wednesday, or a over $40 million guarantee will go fully guaranteed on his contract, so they're going to make that happen. Also yesterday, Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers revealed during his weekly visit on the Pat McAfee show that he plans to make a final decision on his football future after he takes a 4-day darkness retreat that he plans to take after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not a devil worshiper. I still have my crucifix on right now. Still right there.
I'm certainly not.
Always have had one. Always will have one.
Call me a devil worshiper on my mother's birthday.
What's wrong with you people? Come on,
man.
I don't know any of those signs or any of that other stuff that you people do deep dives into, or sounds or whatever it is. I mean, I only remember the Beatles, playing certain songs backwards that indicated something back in the good old days. I don't know about all these emblems or everything else that people do or what they see when they watch shows. I don't really pay attention to that.
Well,
I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe I should get a list of those. That means that. That means that.
Well,
I'm kind of old enough at 68, 67 to make up my own mind on what I hear and what I think.
Agreed.
I can do that.
Agreed.
I think I've earned that right.
Agreed. And the devil worshiping will continue in our 9 o'clock hour because Tom Gimbel will be with us from the live music update. And of course, he was in LA for the Grammy, so he was really worshiping because he was there.
He was there.
All the parties.
Oh!
Yeah. And so we'll get an eyewitness account of
the
performances and what really stood out to Tom Gimbel. Of course, his co-worker there at ACL TV, Terry Lacona, produces that show and is a big part of the production team that makes that happen every year, the biggest night in music, or as our emailer says, devil worshiping. Somebody asked what the size of Savion Red is. We're going to talk to Jerry Hamilton about it. He's 5'10". The Longhorn roster lists him at 5'10", 210. And if you saw him last year wearing number 17 as a wide receiver, he's a stockier kid.
Yeah,
He's not like...
He's like Quan was.
Yeah, that's a good comparison as far as body type.
Yeah.
And, Quan Cosby. And he's like we know Xavier Worthy is, very slim, sinewy.
He's slimmer than he says he is. I know that.
Jordan Whittington's kind of a bigger guy, too, and he's probably taller. But Savion Red is stocky. He's 5'10", 210. Probably could get him as a running back up to 215. And, the fact that he was more of a runner than a thrower in high school, you kind of can see why this is happening. We'll talk to Jerry. It also speaks to the depth they've added at the receiver position. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you've added A.D. Mitchell. You're going to get Isaiah Nair back healthy from his knee injury, the Wyoming transfer a year ago. You also have Xavier Worthy. You've got Jordan Whittington. You've added Jonte Cook and Ryan Niblett as freshmen. I mean, you've got dudes that can make things happen out there. So
yeah, you need 4 or 5. You need at least 5 of those guys at wide receiver position because at any given time, one is going to be hurt and one is going to be lame a little bit. They're going to be banged up, an ankle or those type of things. Yeah,
It's football. And I think the Longhorns really struggled this year when Isaiah Nair got hurt. They had a plan for...
I know the expectations were very high.
And he was going to be that, take the top off the defense kind of big play receiver, big tall guy, catch radius, 6'3", and, play, on the outside and, Jordan Whittington and Xavier Worthy. And, so there are some that would contend that was when Xavier Worthy started to struggle because when Nair went down, they really didn't have a third receiver, and they were using, Worthy on a lot of those deep routes and a lot of the fly routes instead of those little underneath things in the quick game. But we'll see. I mean, now you have options. And A.D. Mitchell, I mean, it's this transfer portal thing. You're bringing in a guy who may immediately become your best receiver. I mean, you hear the promo running with Jeff Howe talking about contested catch rate that he dove into at Georgia. I mean, this is a guy that will go up and win one-on-one battles. This is a guy that, he's not going to drop balls like we saw Texas doing all the time last year. He's going to go win those one-on-one battles, and he's tall, and he's got great athleticism. So with he and Nair, you have 2 guys that maybe can win in those one-on-one situations with Quinn Ewers putting it up there. And you have Jatavion Sanders, who's a great big target at tight end. So you got a nice mix. And we'll ask Jerry about that coming up. And how, if there's a freshman, we know when we're talking about these freshmen that are coming in here and are already here, Arch Manning, Cedric Baxter Jr., Anthony Hill at linebacker.
I need a little teeny one that can go through the defense as a wide receiver.
Jonte Cook.
Catch and run.
There's 2, Ryan Niblett and Jonte Cook. Both are that type of player.
Yes.
And will either of them, can they have an immediate impact? We'll ask Jerry that question. He's seen all those guys. We also have LeBron James. Talked about it all morning. What a performance, what a record, say what you want about LeBron, but the most hyped athlete of all time arguably has lived up and surpassed the hype. And he's done it without much.
For
sure. He's not perfect, but he's been a pretty good person off the field, or off the court for his entire career. And now here he is in Los Angeles going past Kareem. And am I right on this? Because I saw Kareem. I remember when he broke the record, I was 11 or 12 years old. And I remember that night when he skyhooked his way past Wilt Chamberlain to become the all-time scoring leader. But that was a team with the Lakers where he was still a big part of it, but obviously Magic Johnson.
Oh, yeah,
and James
he had a
Worthy.
pretty good cast around him.
Yeah, I mean, he was a part of that deal, but Magic and Worthy.
And Kareem was going to get his no matter what, whether he stayed with the Bucks. He was going to get his.
No, he was amazing.
Yeah.
But here's why I would compare LeBron to Kareem, right? Different positions and different players. But just like LeBron was the chosen one at 16, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came into this league as Lou Alcindor with a lot of pressure because he was at Power Memorial and the greatest high school player of all time and so much hype. He went and played for the legendary John Wooden at UCLA and won all the championships. So when he came in the league, there was a lot of pressure and a lot of hype. And he played so long, and kind of like LeBron, he was so front and center in the media and in your center of attention that they become unlikable for some people. They say things in politics and they do things ways people don't agree with. And Kareem was that way too, right? He was pretty outspoken. People didn't think he was he took some stances on things. And so when we talk about greatest players of all time, sometimes people don't even mention Kareem. And I'm always like, really? I mean, the all-time scoring leader. He was the best high school player ever. He's the best college player ever. What do we need here? Why isn't he in this same conversation along with the greats of all time? Now, but you know what I mean, with Jordan and...
Oh, absolutely.
But I think LeBron's that too, because there's a lot of people that don't like LeBron James. Just like there are a lot of people that didn't like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, even though they were unbelievable players. And to see them embrace last night and congratulate one another, that was pretty cool.
I mean, there are people that don't like Tom Brady. We still hear that. I mean,
and I think a lot of that
when you're in the limelight, when you're in the public eye, and if you're a sports fan and you claim that you know about all of this about sports, this sport, that sport. I'm a historian on sports and all that stuff. I mean, there are very few real historians on sports.
Correct.
There are few and far between Craig Ways out there.
Well, but
that are historians on.
But I do think
most sports,
just the fact that they are in the limelight and in our public conscience for so long. I mean, since he's 16 years old, people know who LeBron James is. Since kind of like Tiger Woods, right? Tiger Woods was so omnipresent that.
But you wanted him to speak on everything when that wasn't his personality.
Right, and you still have people who didn't like Tiger Woods for whatever reason, right? And it's just the way that goes. And here Tom Brady the same way. I mean, it's hard to deflate gate and some other things with Tom Brady, but he did things the right way for a long, long time. He's the greatest of all time. And I think, the two conversations together, Tom Brady and LeBron, because Tom just retired and now LeBron breaks the record, they're similar that way, that they've just been doing it at such a high level for so long. It does come with. I
just love the fact that they're incredible records, and when we think that that record won't be broken, all of a sudden, bang, it is. I mean, it just moves right along. Those records are going to be broken by whoever the next king is, whoever the next,
Well, this one stood for almost 40 years, and it may be 40 more. It may never be broken with load management and the way games are played and. Who
knows? I mean, there may be a 4-point play line coming up soon.
Right.
I mean,
that's right.
That's how history, that's how sports goes.
But
things change.
Kind of just like the Brady conversation of last week. Tom Brady went to 10 Super Bowls. He won 7 of them. LeBron went to 10 finals, won 4 of them. 4 finals MVPs for LeBron. He's an 18-time All-NBA player.
Yeah, when I hear that from people and they say it'll never happen, another quarterback will never have 7 Super Bowls. How the hell do you know that? I mean.
Mahomes.
What is it that you see? What is it that you know that we don't know that is going to happen in time? That you can make those. I mean, you can say that, but.
Well, I know one record that will never be broken. That's Nolan Ryan's strikeout record. Never. Ever. Ever.
Ever, ever, ever.
Ever. I mean, these dudes don't even pitch 5 innings anymore. Come on, man. They're not getting a Nolan.
And it's not going backwards.
No.
Or they start pitching more.
And you could argue that this one won't either because LeBron's going to keep playing for a couple more years. He'll be over 40,000
points. Oh, yeah,
the
fact that guy could play 5 more years with his body.
And leave it at a number. And for Brady and Super Bowls, did we get to 10? Patrick Mahomes is playing in his 3rd and his 5th year. He's only 27 years old, so he's a name to put out there along with Andy Reid that could make plenty of runs. But, yes, I mean, both of those have set such a high bar that it's going to be unmatched in a lot of ways. We'll come back. We'll take
people
thoughts.
Get mad at the records. I like them. I like when they're broken. I think it's cool to have somebody break it. I'm not going to get mad at them and try to break them down and why they're this or why they're that. The record is what he did in basketball. It's not what he did in record isn't what he did in politics or who he voted for or who he thought about. I mean, the record is for basketball.
Cal Ripken Jr.'s record will never be broken. That's true. That's true. They don't do consecutive games much anymore. No doubt about that. We'll be back. Jerry Hamilton will jump in. Get a quick thought with him from inside Texas on the latest and final Longhorn high school recruit for the class of 23 and the Savion Red move, plus from Texas Hoops. Callahan's General Store, of course, powering our tour of Texas golf. We're going to let you know our new course coming up later this week or into next week. Our course for the month of February, which is a lot of fun. We're spotlighting a new golf course every single month because golf is so popular right now. Golf is can't get tee times all over the place, but you're new to town or you just picked up the game and you want to learn about these courses, when they started, what they're all about, how to play them, management. Our friend Omar Uresti helps us with that as well, the professional golfer, and of course Callahan's and Charlie and the team power that for us because they love golf and they want to help you get your lawn and yard and gardens golf course ready. We'll make it look like a golf course for the spring. And they have all the essentials you need over there. I was over there on Saturday. Charlie's ready to see you and help you maybe get some new grass down, get some seed down. As he said, it's a great time right now to get the pre-emergent granules in the ground to get ahead of the weeds because, the weeds come spring will take over your yard and you won't get what the results. Got to get rid of the weeds, and you can do it with the pre-emergent granules there. They have everything you need. And just like everything else at Callahan's, the people that can help you get the right products, apply it properly, do it the right way every single time. They're Central Texas owned and family operated for 45 years now at Callahan's General Store. 501 Bastrop Highway, right by the airport, between downtown and the airport, and still there, still cranking. Callahan'sGeneralStore.com. Remember, make it a Callahan's Day. B&E on the Horn, Craig Way with his report coming up. And Vic Schaefer last night with the Texas women over at Pluckers. We'll hear more from Craig on that. Also, Salacious Gossip, your Blitz before the top of the hour. And then the 9 o'clock hour, very busy as well. We've got our first Radio Row conversation live with Brian Billick, the Super Bowl winning coach, Baltimore Ravens, now doing great TV analysis. His thoughts on this Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. As we said, Tom Gimble will have the live music update. But more than that, he's back from the Grammys. He'll give us a full rundown of what went on there. All right, so a lot going on. LeBron passes Kareem on the NBA's career scoring list. Got Longhorns on the brain. Texas basketball with West Virginia tomorrow night, which we're cranking up for. Also, Derek Carr going to visit the Saints. Talk to the Saints about a trade. You liked that earlier.
I do.
That's a wide open division, to say the least. And, obviously the Tom Brady retiring. You got Carolina, Atlanta, Saints, and Buccaneers. Who's the favorite there? I mean, if Derek Carr lands there, maybe the Saints are back right in the conversation with Dennis Allen.
Well, I mean, little Petey Carmichael can't wait to have a guy like Derek Carr as his quarterback.
The offensive coordinator there. And, still have a good defense. Still have Chris Olave as a rookie and what they're doing. But, and again, the Raiders, you had to come up with the compensation to acquire Derek Carr before they'd let you talk to him. So clearly the Saints and the Raiders have come to some type of agreement on what it's going to take to get him. So that could happen pretty quickly. All right, let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. Always like talking Texas football, basketball, anything with our buddy Jerry Hamilton of Inside Texas and On 3 Sports. Jerry, how are you and where are you coming to us from? You sound like you're on the road somewhere.
Shoot, I'm in the Houston area. I was out at Oak Ridge High yesterday, hitting a couple of just area schools, and we'll get back on the road a little bit in the southeast region here at the last part of February.
Hey Jerry, the high school coaches are they like now? It's basketball season. Some of their kids are playing basketball on some of these teams. Are they heavy into what they do? I know it's high school football in the state of Texas, but are they heavy into their football work right now, getting ready for spring ball?
Oh, absolutely. They started back up, mid-January after the holidays, and yes, they're very much in it. Oak Ridge was spirited, very competitive, had tug of war around their a lot of their agility work yesterday. So, the Texas high school coaches are back at it. They're ready for spring football. They take some time in January because all the foot traffic coming through with the college coaches.
Sure.
There's so much going on. But these guys are back at it now, preparing for spring football. And here's the reality. I think more than ever, you have to be now. There's so much individualized training. So many kids are moving around. That these high school coaches have player development at a young age, athletic development at a young age is more emphasized than it ever has been.
Now, and Jerry, the coaches convention, are they still going and getting thoughts from other coaches all over? Or are they still meeting with each other and getting things done and exchanging some ideas? At sometimes, are they keeping a bunch of ideas to themselves?
I think a little bit of both. Obviously, I think depending on how much success you've had, if you've had a lot of success, you might want to keep those a little close, right? You don't want to share all your secrets, but nothing's changed on that end. I mean, I think that's what makes Texas high school football so great is the level of coaching is unparalleled around the country. Texas has the best setup, the athletic period, the Friday night experience, and the coaches that they all have that camaraderie. They all love each other as Texas high school coaches. So there's a lot of idea sharing, but there's also some that's close to the vest, as it should be.
Yep.
Hey, Jerry, you were at Red Oak High School yesterday. I saw over the declaration and the signing by Warren Roberson. It's a guy you talked about last week that you said you think is going to go to Texas. He came in with a TCU jacket on, but took the jacket off, and it was a burnt orange polo. To give our audience a scouting report on what the Longhorns are getting in their 25th commitment of the 2023 cycle.
Very physical safety. He's a kid to me that plays a little faster than he would time at a combine, an Under Armour combine, or some testing because he plays with such physicality and aggression. He just sticks that foot in the ground with a purpose. And that's the first thing you see from him when he plays the run. He's a strong kid. He's 6 foot, 190 pounds. He'll be a 200-pound kid perfectly proportioned. But what he adds to that, and he may have a tad bit of hip stiffness at times. I mean, we got to say none of these guys are perfect players, right? So he does show a little bit of that. But what he has with that downhill physicality, he also has wide receiver ball skills. This is a kid that plucks the ball in the air with the arms extended very well for a defensive back. It's almost like a wide receiver playing safety, and I think that's what makes him so attractive to a Texas, to a TCU, to a USC. He could have gone to Florida. He could have gone to Tennessee. He's the number 270th ranked prospect in the country. So he is one of the elite safeties in the country. But it's that ball skills with the physicality that gives him a chance to be a really good player. And he's played great competition coming up. You know, he played against one of the top juniors in the country, Micah Hudson, Bryant Wesco at Midlothian, some of those guys. He also grew up in the South Dallas area. He played youth sports with Jonte Cook, Malik Muhammad, Texas basketball signee Ron Holland at different points during growing up. Those kids all played in the same youth basketball leagues, rec leagues, what have you. So he's used to playing against big-time competition. Jonte Cook, Malik Muhammad were helpful in that recruitment when he visited the last weekend in January. And, yeah, he had a little fun with that. Add a little more salt to that national title game wound, I think, for TCU.
You know, Jerry, the competition on the 40 acres will be really special, I think, in football in this spring. And, you know, not only will this offensive line continue to grow, but the defensive line, the linebacker area, the wide receiver room, I think there'll be great competition at the running back. I mean, somebody's going to have to stand out at that running back position, or you're going to have a couple guys, you know, running back by committee, different types of players at different times. And I like that. I like that for this offense. I really do. But the one position I think that they've got to really set on is this wide receiver position. A new wide receiver coach will probably be a no-nonsense guy coming from the NFL that will get this thing set and get it set straight and get guys on the same page. Whether it be, I don't care which quarterback it is, but the wide receivers, I had to believe, are going to be able to do their job.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those that aren't on Inside Texas, we put out yesterday, Savion Red is moving the running back this spring.
Yeah, we
He's
talked
going to
about
get some time at running back, which I think is very interesting because, look, he's a versatile guy that can play running back, that played that quarterback athlete in high school, has a running back frame that played wide receiver. So I think that's a really good move. I really like that move. He has some tough physicality. I like that move for the spring. Yeah, I totally agree. I think Chris Jackson, I don't know if we talked about on this show, I think Chris Jackson is coming in like with perfect timing, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming in when Quinn Ewers is a second-year quarterback. Arch Manning's coming into the program. The offensive line, it all comes back, and a lot of those freshmen are going to be sophomores. I look for some of those kids to make huge jumps this spring. Neto, Cam Williams, DJ Campbell. It's perfect timing. And then you get to the wide receiver room, and you have Xavier Worthy, which this should be his best year. This is the year he wants to prove he can go be in the NFL draft. Jordan Whittington's a senior. Jatavion Sanders, a junior tight end. Then you have, A.D. Mitchell, who wants to prove he's an NFL draft pick this year. Isaiah Naylor, see how he comes back, could be in the same boat. Then you have DeAndre Moore. You have Jonte Cook. You have Brennan Thompson, could be a sophomore. There's a lot. This room that he's coming into has more talent than last year, and it has more experience around it on the offensive line, quarterback, tight end, save, running back. But Chris Jackson's coming at a great time, if you ask me, because he has a lot of talent in the room, and he's coming in a year where 2 or 3 of these guys want to prove they're ready to go to the NFL, and that is a perfect time for Chris Jackson to come into Texas.
He's Jerry Hamilton, Inside Texas on 3 Sports, the latest on the Longhorns' final commitment. And when I say that's the final, I'm pretty sure, is that right? 25 will be the number? I know they'll wait on Deuce Robinson, the tight end, but as far as that you're concerned, is that the end of the class?
I can't say that for sure. Look, I mean, Texas thinks they're in that. They continue to plug away at Deuce Robinson. I mean, and that means the conversations are still positive, and I'm sure Georgia continues to be the slight favorite there. USC's still in it, but those 3 schools, none of them have walked away. They all think they have a chance. I think Texas will fight for Deuce Robinson until that April 1 deadline for this late signing period if it goes on that long. But look, I can tell you there's some confidence on the Texas side. I'm not saying they're going to get him because I think there's confidence on the Georgia side as well. The one thing I say to look forward to Deuce Robinson recruitment is if there's any chatter about that family leaving Phoenix and moving somewhere, that's going to be the big clue on where Deuce Robinson's going to end up. But the Texas football, and baseball staff has done a really good job marrying that recruitment together, which I think is huge for Deuce in his mind, is who does a really good job of marrying together a football and baseball staff, because he really is serious about baseball. He's really working towards the MLB draft. I'm not sure he's going to get drafted as high as maybe some of the people are thinking, because you got to have a lot of pop in that bat, a lot of power at his size, and I'm not sure he's there yet. But as far as a football prospect now, he's the top-ranked tight end in the country, and Texas is not giving up on that recruitment at all.
Wow.
April 1st, the deadline. Last thing real quick, Jerry, your thoughts on this Texas basketball team. They got through that 4-game gauntlet of top 10 teams at 2-2. They're a game clear in the Big 12. But obviously, for me, the ceiling of this team, they got to figure out Tyrese Hunter and how to get him playing more consistently. And then, Monday night, again, on defense, he was a liability as well. They got to figure that out if they're going to reach the potential of this team, in my mind.
Yeah, I agree with that. Tyrese got to get healthy. Then he's got to play up to the level that he expects of himself, and kind of Texas expects of him. And I don't think he would hide from that. He has not played as well this year as consistently, obviously, as Texas needs, and that's going to be huge. I mean, look, I think you're starting to see Dylan Mitchell respond to the physicality a little better of the Big 12, and that takes time. Texas needs Arterio Morris in spurts, but look, this is a senior-heavy guard-driven team, or experienced guard team with Carr, Rice, and Hunter. And come NCAA tournament time, all three of those guys are going to have to play well. I think you know what you're going to get from Timmy Allen. I think you know what you're going to get from Bishop and Dylan right now. I think you're starting to see what you can get from Mitchell as he answers the physicality. But to you guys' point, Tyrese Hunter in its defensive end, and it's making a few more shots. I like to see him shoot the ball more. I like to see him work his way out of this, but it's hard when you're playing road games. I would like to see him put up 15, 16 shots against West Virginia. He needs to work his way out of this. But what's going to be interesting about Tyrese Hunter's development, the more you've watched him, he's got to develop a floater. He is quick and he is explosive. He can get to the paint. But the next part of that, he's got to develop a floater. He's got to develop a go-to shot when he gets in the paint. I think that's going to be huge for his future.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. Know you're busy. Going to Oak Ridge High School this morning, home of Joseph Osai back in the day. Enjoy that, and we look forward to our next visit.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, guys, have a good one. Yep.
Oak Ridge High. Yeah, it's also the high school my wife graduated from. They're across the street from the Woodlands there on 45 in Houston, Oak Ridge. We'll come back. When we do, oh, man, your time to shine. Let's bring the Blitz strong. 447-3776. We'll find out if our rookie producer, Jack Farrell's ready to handle the Blitz. His first time. We'll hit it, plus some gossip. We'll get to all of it. And Brian Billick and Tom Gimble in the next hour. A busy Wednesday on B&E. No games, just gossip, brought to you by Bud Light, the official domestic beer partner of the Texas Longhorns, of the Texas OU game, and of the Texas X's, and of your Super Bowl party on Sunday. It has to be. Make sure it's loaded up and ready to go with the ice cold ones ready for Super Bowl Sunday, where, yes, they have sold out all of the $7 million 30-second commercials at Fox.
Oh, nothing left for the one I was going to have?
You're going to get one?
Oh,
for what's your deviled egg recipe?
Oh, no, just from baked potatoes. How to bake a nice potato
gross.
for Super Bowl Sunday.
So gross. I do think our friends Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light will have a few.
There you go.
Of those commercials.
Absolutely.
Always look forward to those. But sold out. I don't know if we were sold out on the State of the Union address last night. That was interesting, to say the least. And we also have this, Buck. You know, we talked about when Live Golf came online, why it was such a threat to the PGA Tour and golf in general, and why it was different than other startup sports leagues. We now know the math. A report out says that Live Golf spent over $1 billion last year coming online in player contracts, setup fees, to set up the tournaments and the golf courses and everything. Spent over $1 billion and made $0.
Deep pockets. Endless amounts of money.
Oil wells of money.
Yes.
Yeah, spent over $1 billion and made virtually no money in their inaugural season.
Nothing like having that kind of company when you can do that for a lifetime,
yeah,
huh?
It doesn't matter. Just keep doing it.
Yeah, we'll do it again this year.
Yes. And so that's what the PGA Tour and golf in general is fighting against, because the pockets are endless.
Yes.
How about that?
Love it.
That is a poor return on $1 billion investment. Nothing. Make nada. Zip. Zero. Well, now they have a TV network, though. At least they're on the CW.
Gee.
CW, I think last night was where Isaiah Collier was calling the Westlake game with Roger Wallace.
There you go.
Is that where that was last night? Westlake beat Buda Johnson. Big win for Westlake. The Shaps got that win, 58-55. Thought Zay does a great job there with Roger. That's always fun.
He looks like he's having a great time, too.
Oh, he just knows his hoops and loves high school basketball.
As long as he doesn't sing, everything is good.
That's right. That is correct. All right, since we're going to get to Brian Billick at the top of the hour, let's go ahead and get to your blitz and knock that out.
The Bucky and E Blitz.
All right, go ahead, Buck.
All right, first blitzer, you're up.
All right, so you got Derek Carr up for Aaron Rodgers doing a retreat, and you got LeBron beating Jabbar for the all-time career scoring. There's a cornucopia of California douchebags.
Hey.
Cornucopia. Love it. Next blitzer, you're up.
LeBron is an Akron, Ohio douchebag, by the way. Be accurate.
Is Roberto Kraft, Mr. Birthday Suit, wishing Mrs. Hogan a happy birthday.
There you go.
Thank you
Happy
very much.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Next blitzer, you're up.
Oh, no.
Hey, button pusher, quit messing up the bumper music.
Jeez. All right.
They will not be nice.
Next blitzer, you're up.
Hey, Buck,
Yes.
just let me know, man, if you need some sponsors for that doggone baked potato commercial, man. I got
Okay.
you.
All right. I
Sponsors for the sponsors?
need sponsors, little bacon bits. Next blitzer, you're up.
Gross.
LeBron, number 1 in scoring, number 4 in assists. Been doing it 20 years. Go. Oh, and he didn't get his daddy killed.
Oh, gee.
No.
Next blitzer, you're up.
For rumor.
Coach,
Yes, sir.
can you tell people it's the blitz? Don't take like 10 seconds to get to your point. Anyway, where's Tavo? Can you find him?
Yeah, where'd he go?
I don't know. He takes his sabbatical every once in a while and disappears, you guys, for a year or two and makes some of you happy and some of you are disappointed.
Yeah, well, there we go. LeBron James is the new scoring king. But, that's the way that goes. And yes, it's my mother's birthday, too. And as I said, they attended the same high school.
Nice.
Different years, different graduating classes, obviously, with LeBron and my mother. But, it's the way that goes. We'll be back when we do. Excited. Our first Radio Row conversation live with Brian Billick, the Super Bowl winning head coach. His thoughts on this game. What makes the Eagles offense so difficult to handle with the RPO game and Jalen Hurts? And what are the Eagles and that great pass rush going to do with Patrick Mahomes? All coming here on B&E.
Devil worshippers. got something, don't they?
QC Kinetics, folks. QC Kinetics, the best, the best. You know, get out a pen and write this phone number down. 512-593-4303. That's 512-593-4303. That's going to get you right to QC Kinetics, and that's going to be the relief you seek for your chronic pain. They're going to be able to set you up with a free consultation to get into one of their locations, Austin or Round Rock, and learn about regenerative treatments and the pain alleviating way to get through your chronic pain in your knees, in your hips, in your back. Maybe it's your elbow or your lower back even with your sciatic nerve. You can get in there and they have relief. They can get you there with these regenerative medicine treatments that absolutely work. It's blood cells from your own body, highly concentrated, and then injected back into that area to promote the healing, to restore the tissue, to get to the relief you're seeking instead of just masking those injuries or thinking about going under long-term and costly surgeries. Call QC Kinetics. Use that number, 512-593-4303. Learn all about it, why it works, how it works, and then go from there at QC Kinetics. Call them today, 512-593-4303. Final hour of hours on a Wednesday. We know we roll on beyond 10 o'clock, live and local and digital all day, every day here on the Horn. It'll be Like the Tower with Craig and Jeff, Colonel Parker and the crew. They'll be bringing it to you 10 to noon.
Colonel Parker, I love when you do that.
Colonel Cam Parker, he does a great job.
Colonel Cam Parker.
Unbelievable job. Craig and Jeff, and then, of course, Zay and Chad through the midday. Harge and Rod this afternoon to wrap it up, get you home on a Wednesday. And by the way, happy birthday to Harge and Rod. I heard them yesterday. Their 1 year anniversry of their first show together 1 year ago. So doing a great job with ball.
Hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses. And been a great addition to bring Harge to the show. Of course, Rod was there with Kevin and before, but KD is off doing great work as well now. So happy first birthday to the Ball Don't Lie program. When do we have a birthday coming up? We got like
24.
It's amazing because we've pretty much spanned LeBron James' entire career
and a lot of other careers.
From 16 on the Chosen One in Sports Illustrated, doing interviews with a high school coach in Akron who tried to call up a good buddy of mine that I went to college with, who was telling us all about him. Hey, keep an eye on this LeBron guy. And now here we are. He is now the all-time scoring leader in the history of the NBA.
Oh, the best is when you hear somebody in the store say, "Hey, I know that voice. I was in the car with my dad. I know who you are." I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, they're now 24, and they've got like 3 kids, and their kids are not allowed to listen.
Or change the channel, which we appreciate a lot. Yeah, we've done it for a while, but that's good. This is what happened to Ty. Ty's getting surgery today.
Yes.
I think.
Or he's hoping to get
he scares himself out of it.
Or his insurance is not straightened out yet.
He's getting the sinus issues cleared up, deviated septum, and he's getting some major work done. So he'll be there. Says he's my gambling guru.
Oh, boy.
Hope you're doing okay. By the way, this is the first Super Bowl ever that we played in a state that has legalized sports gambling. Did you know that? Never happened before. Yeah, so
very nice.
They're anticipating more legal wagers on this Super Bowl than any other. We know it's the most bet on, and everybody does Super Bowl squares, and the gambling for this game is off the charts. You'll do all kinds of props. Lee Sterling will be with us on Friday with his weekly Super Bowl preview with all the prop bets that he likes the best. His daughter's always locked in on the national anthem because she sings the national anthem professionally. She goes all over the place and does that, and she's a trained vocalist, so she always gets it right. She's like, what is it, 5 for 5? Last 5 years she's gotten it right. And you told me you're going for you're not tails never fails this year.
I'm going tails. I'm generally heads. I'm going tails.
What has changed your mind on that?
I lost last year.
I'm surprised you stick with it. It's a 50-50 opposite proposition, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Best in the house. Best you can get in the house bet, 50-50 right there.
It says, what was the date of the first B&E show? Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Well, if you're going back to when it was a 1-hour show in the afternoon, that would have been August of 1999.
And then in the 2000, yeah. You're right.
Because it was Mac Brown's second year here at Texas. We started our show that summer. So August of 99 would have been our first show. But then, of course, it was only 1 hour at the time. We were filler. We were 100% filler. Some will say we still are, but we were
4 hours of filler.
Well, remember that? Because you were looking to get out of the agent business and wanted to get back closer to home and stop traveling. And but remember, it's Craig Way and Bill Schoening were doing our afternoon show, and we had a Jim Rome show, the Jim Rome show nationally, and they didn't have anything to bridge the gap because Craig and Bill didn't want to do an extra hour.
Come on now.
No way.
You two get in here, do this.
So we did it. We had fun.
We were on Saturday mornings at a time.
That's right.
We did a little bit of everything.
That's right. Well, they let us take over the airways on Saturday morning. With,
wow.
Whatever that show was called. I don't
remember. We were in
the
parking lots. We were doing shows from everywhere.
It says that's August 1999. I was 16. Now I'm 40.
Oh my goodness.
According to CB. Yeah, we've been plugging along, and still having a good time doing it each and every morning. We got it. Okay, we're going to talk to Brian Billick coming up formerly of the Baltimore Ravens. Is Stu there? Stu Myrick is there on Radio Row. We know how this goes. Sometimes an interview is supposed to start at 9 o'clock, but he gets hung up over at another radio station. You know how that goes.
Absolutely.
And so Stu Myrick is on Radio Row. He is our man, Super Bowl Stu in Phoenix. Stu, how's the trip to the desert so far? Tampa.
What about Erin Andrews? Where is she, Stu? Oh.
Talent available for all of us to talk
Really?
to. Actually, I got to talk to Jay Glazer and Coach Jimmy Johnson. And Erin Andrews was there, very sequiny blue dress.
There you go.
Very, very put together. She was
Pam there?
She was looking
Pam
fantastic.
Oliver there?
She was. I didn't see her. I don't think she was there.
That's Tom Rinaldi.
Because
right?
I think it's going to be, it's going to be Erin Andrews and Tom Rinaldi on the sidelines. Tom was there as well.
Greg Olson.
And Greg Olson was there as well. Yeah, that was great. It was fantastic. By the way, Coach Billick is about three steps away. I'm going to get him on headset here. Use that. This one right here, Coach. This one right there.
All right. Appreciate that.
And you got the Super Bowl winning coach, Brian Billick, on the line.
All right, Brian. Coach, we're in Austin, Texas, and we have Stu there on site to set up interviews like this, and we appreciate him doing it. We appreciate you doing it. Brian Billick with us here on B&E. Brian, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you all doing?
We're doing fantastic, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Hey, let's dive into this Super Bowl and your thoughts. I mean, you're an offensive guy. You won a Super Bowl with maybe the best defense, one of the best defenses all time with the Ravens. From your offensive mind, though, watching this on film, when you watch this Eagles team, tell our audience what really makes it so difficult to stop Jalen Hurts in this RPO game that it makes defenders take a half a step and try to read what's going on. It's a really dynamic offense that has to give defensive coordinators fits.
It does, because I think it's anchored in their physicality. That's the thing that jumps out at me, how physical the offensive line is, the running game. That augments, obviously, that then sets up all the things that you just alluded to, the RPO and the play actions. Jalen Hurts is the perfect quarterback for this system because of his physicality at the quarterback position, what he's able to do, particularly in critical situations. I think it's that physicality on both sides of the ball that's going to be the difference in the game this weekend.
You know, Coach, having a little bit of an edge or a lot of an edge when it comes to playing in a game like this, we know Patrick Mahomes has been in 2 Super Bowls, won one and lost one. But talk about for Jalen Hurts, this is, he's played big-time football. He's been at Alabama. He's played there. He's been in Oklahoma. But the difference of being in this game, in this particular game, and taking things on your shoulders and that edge to, they're both great. I believe they're both great quarterbacks, or going to be great quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts too. But the experience of Patrick Mahomes in this game.
Well, the experience is helpful. Only in the sense is that you are more prepared and you understand everything leading up to it. The week prior, though, anybody that have come down to the Super Bowl, it's unbelievable, the passion, the energy. It's an extravaganza. It's dealing with that, the experience of dealing that maybe gives you a little bit of an edge. The game itself, you're right, Jalen Hurts has played in a lot of big games. He knows what that's like. And that's the thing you try to stress as a coach with the players is, particularly beginning today, Wednesday is the first day you get back on the practice field. You try to create that sense of normalcy, of guys, you know how to do this. We have done this all year long. It's the reason we're in the Super Bowl. So today, tomorrow, and Friday, it can begin to feel like a normal preparation for a game. Because once the game kicks off and that ball, the foot meets the ball and all the lights flash and whatever, it really is just a game. The consequences, the aftermath, obviously, if you choose to focus on it, can be overwhelming. But the game itself is just it's what you know. And that, as a coach, is what you try to get them to focus on, that we can do this because we know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
He is Brian Billick, and obviously the Chiefs have the experience in this game. But if we recall, Brian, last time they played in this game, they played the Buccaneers and scored 9 points because they couldn't block the pass rush of the Buccaneers. And this Eagles pass rush is the best in pro football, almost record-setting at this point. Now, their offensive line is much better and healthier than it was in that game against Tampa Bay. But talk about that matchup, Patrick Mahomes against this ferocious rush coming the other way.
Well, I think ultimately that's going to be the difference in the game. Like we said, Patrick Mahomes is just special. But I don't think Kansas City has faced an offense as physical as the Eagles. And defensively, you're right. That ability to put a 4- and 5-man rush on and contain a Patrick Mahomes gives you a lot of latitude on the back end. You don't have to blitz too many people. You don't have to be too creative. And where he's going to now find that hole to get the ball to Kelsey or get outside the pass rush. So that ability to put pressure on a Patrick Mahomes, who obviously is going to feel a little bit better than he did against the Bengals, but that high ankle sprain is still going to be a factor. And against a pass rush like Philadelphia can mount, with then that back end changing up and trying to keep Kelsey from making those big plays down the field, I think it could be the difference in the game.
You know, Coach, with Jalen Hurts with that shoulder, you know, he even said himself, obviously I'm not 100%. Well, I don't know there's 100% anybody there that's playing in this game that is 100%. But for him, do you think all things just go forward now? I mean, set runs and things that they did in the beginning of the season, or are you still careful with your quarterback in a game like this because you can't lose him in the first quarter to have him in the fourth quarter, but you want to get out and you want to play your brand of football. Do you think that offense just now stays the same as it was earlier? Is he healthy enough to do those things?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you have to be mindful of it, but you can't let it dictate what you're doing. This is what you do. And this is what they do. And obviously with all that the game represents and what they're going to need to do, they're going to need that element to augment the physicality in the running game that we talked about, because it will set up the other things. It will set up the RPO. It will set up the big plays to A.J. Brown down the field. And so he's going to have to do that. But as a coach, yeah, you are mindful of it. Yeah, I don't know that you put him on a pinch count, because you do what you do best. But you're right, you do, particularly with the shoulder. You want to, it's going to happen organically on its own enough. So how many actual runs you call with him, that's going to remain to be seen, because you got to, it happening organically itself is going to happen enough.
Yeah, and when you say organically, I mean his thought process is incredible when it's time to leave that pocket. I mean, he's a step ahead of some of the what you would call running type of quarterbacks. His mind is like, that 8 yard means an awful lot right there. I'm going to go get that 8, and sometimes those 8s turn into 28, the way he thinks of the game as a runner to me.
Yeah, and it augments what we talked about, the physicality of them. Obviously, the big plays they're great, and it's different than, say, a Lamar Jackson, because that's the difference for them. It's he all of a sudden can patent those big plays that change the course of the game. But I heard someone equate the fact that Lamar Jackson's a tailback playing quarterback and that Jalen Hurts is a fullback playing quarterback. That physicality of it, you're right. And those 8 and 9 yard chunks, those are huge plays. And it also integrates with the physical style. So it may not be the huge, big, game-busting plays down the field, but it's just death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? It's just, here's another first down and another first down, and physically just wear you down.
Yeah, and then they go for it on fourth down so often with that quarterback sneak play that nobody can stop, because he is such a strong guy and a former power lifter in high school here in the state of Texas. Brian Billick is with us. This Eagles team, and Buck and I have contended that the acquisition of A.J. Brown on draft night was maybe the biggest single move anybody made in the offseason. To use, you keep using the word physical, but to put a physical receiver like that on the outside, that they can generate that one-on-one coverage, that you just can't keep them from getting those slant routes and getting those chunk yard plays. How big has A.J. Brown been opposite to Devontae Smith in your mind?
Huge, simply because he, like you said, it's not just a matter of the big plays and the speed that he has, but the fact that he matches the physicality. He fits the persona of the Philadelphia Eagles in his style of play. So yeah, one feeds the other, and at some point you just have to go, look, we've got to build the box. We got to bring that extra guy down to stop this running game, or they're just going to bludgeon us to death step by step down the field. And then that creates the one-on-one matchup. And the minute you get it, that's what Jalen Hurts is looking for. Just like Patrick Mahomes, the minute he sees a coverage that you're going to try to go one-on-one with Travis Kelce, that's exactly where he's going to go.
Coach, the one thing that offensive coaches hate is one guy wrecking your game plan. And Chris Jones is the guy that can wreck your game plan if you're not careful. They're going to have to be cognizant of where he lines up, how you help him. And I just said before you came on that Chris Jones won't care about you trying to chip him. He'll break the neck of a running back trying to chip him on the way out, especially when he's lined outside wide. I mean, he's incredible. He's great inside, but I didn't realize how quick he was on the outside and how it doesn't take very many steps for him to get to where the quarterback is.
Yeah, and that ability to bring pressure up the middle, that's the vogue thing in the league right now. Is to, in the old days, it was you brought it from the outside, and the inside was just to clog it all up. But, it's like Riddick.
Yes.
He wore out Trent Williams. That was shocking to me. And so when you have that kind of presence, and it can move around from outside to inside, it's a real conundrum for an offensive line, because where do you put your help?
Yep.
Where do you chip? And it's harder to help on the inside than the outside. And when you try to bring your offensive line down to accommodate totally on the inside, that's where the outside's going to kill you.
No question, yeah. Two great quarterbacks, two great offenses, and number 1 and number 2 in sacks in the league this year. So great pass rush as well. Well-built football teams. The coaching matchup's a good one, too. He is Brian Billick, speaking of coaches, was a Super Bowl winning coach with the Baltimore Ravens. Hey, one of the members of those Ravens, I wanted to ask you about it because before my co-host here was a great on-air radio personality here in Austin. He was a football coach, coaching running backs, and coached a guy named Priest Holmes here at the University of Texas, along with Ricky Williams. What are your memories of having Priest in your backfield? What kind of player leader was he for you?
Just a class act. It was such a pleasure to be around Priest, beyond obviously the physical abilities. To watch him when we brought in Jamal Lewis and watch him actually mentor Jamal and be a part of that, and because that was the role that he was kind of relegated to, and then went on to Kansas City, had just a phenomenal career, really, really a great talent, but just a classy, just a pro's pro. It was a pleasure to be around Priest.
And it was incredible, Coach, because your organization wanted him. I mean, there were places he wanted to go as a free agent, but you guys and your running back coach wanted him desperately to come there and play for you guys, which was fantastic.
Yeah, and for all the reasons that we just talked about, beyond the physical abilities, what he brought to the collective, and that being a professional, and unfortunately, the game evolves and the cap is what it is, and you just can't keep everybody. And once we had gotten Jamal, who obviously did spectacular for us, it was great to see that Priest was able to latch on and get someplace where he could continue to have, obviously, the great seasons that his physical abilities dictated, but just such a classy guy.
Certainly so. Brian Billick is as well. I want to talk about the shoulder pads you're talking about there on Radio Row, but let me ask you about the Chiefs side of this. It sounds like you like the Eagles in this game with their physicality and their lines of scrimmage and Hurts. If the Chiefs are going to win this game, what are the keys for you? Obviously, Mahomes has to be good and the ankle has to stay healthy, but what does Andy Reid have to do to get a Super Bowl win here?
Well, let Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes. He's going to come up with some of those patented, such unique plays, getting the big plays down the field. Teams that are playing Kansas City now, if there is a formula, if there is such a thing, you can't give up the big plays. And so you're going to configure yourself in certain coverages down the field, realizing that, they can put themselves on the 10, 12 play drive. They're capable of doing that. But that's where the physicality has to match up. Good open field tackling, but you still just have to not give up the big play, make them go the length of the field. So conversely, that's what Kansas City has to manufacture. When they do come out of some of those zone coverages, when they give you that opportunity, Patrick Mahomes, that he does such a great job of, he's got to take advantage of it and take those shots, because it's hard for me to imagine Kansas City winning unless they come up with their share of the big plays.
The explosives, as we talk about, turnovers always big too. Brian, you're with us on behalf of X-Tech shoulder pads. Tell us about that and why they're somebody you like to talk about.
Well, I'm thrilled to have been a part of the company since day one. Bob Broderick brought me in, and I could see over 10 years ago that this was something special. The game has changed so much, technology and the way we take care of our players, the way we train them, the physical aspect of tracking what kind of exertion they have during the course of the week, everything about it, the training mechanisms, the teaching mechanisms. Well, that didn't exist in the pads until X-Tech pads came along. In the old days, big guys had big pads and little guys had little pads. Well, X-Tech Pad has personalized it with world-leading technology in terms of dispersing the hits and dispersing the impact. And now they're basically form-fitted personal pads for, based on your height, your weight, your experience, your age, your injury history. And that's why it's the number one pad in pro football. The majority on players on both sides of the ball will be in X-Tech pads in this Super Bowl, and down to the colleges like Ohio State, USC, Penn State, Oklahoma, across the board. They recognize that it's the number one pad in college football, and we're making our way down into the high schools and pretty soon down into the youth market.
There it is. X-Tech shoulder pads, bringing us Brian Billick, the Super Bowl winning coach. So did I put words in your mouth, or you do like the Eagles in this game?
I do. I do a good job here on Radio Row. I do about 50 shows, and half of them I pick Kansas City and half I pick Philadelphia. That way, half the country on Monday thinks I know what I'm talking about. But no, I think Philadelphia and that physicality. If I'm a betting man, I would go that way.
All right. Looks like we all agree it's going to be a great football game. 2 number 1 seeds, 2 great coaching staffs, 2 great quarterbacks, and 2 great pass rushes. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Sounds good.
Coach Brian Billick for X-Tech Pads, and Priest Holmes, class act. You could have probably predicted what he was going to say.
Well, he got a good one at that time. I mean,
free agent.
Yeah, free agent. I mean, you know where he wanted to go. He wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy in so many ways. And I said, but these guys really, really want you. I mean, the Cowboys. I know you're a free agent.
Still had Emmitt Smith at the time, correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you can go there and be a backup and do whatever, but the running back coach wanted him. He wanted Priest badly.
Well, and Priest Holmes would have been a draft pick had he not gotten hurt his junior year, right? And then
who hurt him?
You.
Oh.
Well, spring game, spring practice.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he played and shared carries with Ricky Williams during the season and limited his ability to showcase. But that was good stuff right there.
He really showcased in the Nebraska game, too.
I thought that was interesting with Brian Billick. He probably said the word physicality 10 times in that conversation, which tells you, and if you think about it, go back to that 49ers game. Cowboys fans know how physical the Niners are. That's a physical bunch. Last 2 years in the playoffs, they beat up the Cowboys. They got beat up by the Eagles. I mean, that was really impressive. And I know the quarterback got hurt, so Purdy wasn't a factor, and it became
The lines of scrimmages were just.
But gosh, yes, the physicality. And that's a physical Niners team, so the Chiefs better be ready for it. And it's hard to prepare for that. I mean, those guys get after it. And he mentioned Hassan Reddick. They've got Fletcher Cox still being physical and whacking people, and Ndamukong Suh. They get. I mean, again, they have a chance to break the Bears' all-time sack record in a single season, which is quite impressive. We'll be back. When we do, we go from one big event to the other. It's the Super Bowl on Sunday. We're previewing with Brian Billick. Tom Gimbel was at the Super Bowl of Music this past Sunday at the Grammys out in L.A. We'll get his thoughts on the big award winners and his highlights, plus a quick look at the live music roadmap for the upcoming weekend. It's B&E on the Horn. Little Jimi Hendrix right there. And if you missed it earlier this week, we had a list of great musicians that never won a Grammy Award, and Jimi Hendrix would be one of them. Never won one, which seems incredible. But there were a lot of Grammys handed out on Sunday night. Our man Tom Gimbel was out there in Los Angeles. I don't know if I don't think he was at the event live, but he'll give us his thoughts on that, plus the live music roadmap and week to come here in Austin, Texas. Let's go to the Vaqueros hotline. He is also a native of Philadelphia in his early life and big Philadelphia Eagles fan. Hello, Tom.
Good morning, E. How are you?
Doing well. Are we feeling confident about the Fly Eagles Fly? And how leery are you of old Patrick Mahomes?
Well, you got to be leery of Patrick Mahomes and Christian Jones and Travis Kelce and some of the other weapons that they have. But I guess as confident as you can feel, about going into a Super Bowl. Certainly more confident than the last time when we had Nick Foles at quarterback going up against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And that worked out okay. But that just shows you never know, right?
You never know.
Different stars rise to the occasion on different days, and sometimes it's unlikely stars that step up and do something incredible. That's what makes sports so awesome. If it was just decided on paper and the pundits could say, okay, this is who's going to win, it wouldn't be as exciting as it is.
That's right. And that's good. You remind us, and that's the answer to the trivia question. Who are the quarterbacks who beat Tom Brady in a Super Bowl? Eli Manning, a couple of times, and Nick Foles. Pretty amazing.
Westlake's own.
Westlake's own. Getting her done right there. But Jalen Hurts, of course, and, of course, both Texas high school quarterbacks getting after it on Sunday, 5:30, the kick time. Hey, Tom, you were prophetic when you said you thought it was going to be a Harry Styles kind of night at the Grammys. He certainly took home his share, had a good performance, and there were a lot of awards handed out, but I felt like the biggest star of the night was Harry Styles, and you said that would be the case.
It felt like his year all year, and he really is deserving, although I thought he was very gracious in saying in his speech, which is very true, no one goes into a recording studio to make a record hoping that they're going to win something.
Right.
I think that's kind of a difference between sports and music, right? When you are in training camp, you're all there together to win. You know exactly what the goal is at the end of the year. It's to win the championship in your respective sport or league. Music is a personal expression, and it's very difficult for the Grammys or any other organization to say what is better. You've got Harry Styles being better than Kendrick Lamar or Lizzo or Brandy Carlisle. They're all so different, right? And even looking at last night, and I've been looking at the message boards this morning and the debate of LeBron versus Michael Jordan. At least they're playing the same sport.
Right.
At least they're in the same, but even then they're in different eras. There's more scoring now than there was when Michael Jordan played. It's a different type of game. But how do you compare a hip-hop artist like Kendrick Lamar with Harry Styles and say what Kendrick does in his craft or what Harry does in his craft is better than the other? And I think, the musicians backstage, they all want to win. Everybody's competitive. They certainly would love to go up there and win. But they also, I think there's a lot of mutual appreciation for the art that each of them put out. So I thought it was a really good show. I did not attend the ceremonies itself, but was there for a few of the pre-events and the post-Grammy parties. I did get a chance to attend the Lucinda Williams tribute.
Oh, cool!
At the Troubadour, which was honoring Lucinda, and to hear artists like Mumford & Sons and Milk Carton Kids and Allison Russell and Sierra Farrell and all these great musicians performing the songs of Lucinda Williams in a very small venue like the Troubadour was really cool. But I thought the performances on the show were tremendous. Tip of the hat to our executive producer at Austin City Limits, Terry Lacona. He's a big part of putting on what is a very, very complicated show in the Grammys to put that all together, and I thought they did a tremendous job.
They did. The Ode to Hip Hop was particularly notable to me, which went on for a while, but it was well done. And I really liked the Stevie Wonder, Chris Stapleton, version of Higher Ground. I mean, what a performance that was. Chris Stapleton will actually sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. I thought that was really, really well done, among others, which were there on Sunday night. Tom, the live music roadmap for Austin, Texas this weekend, in and around your Super Bowl parties. Where are you going?
Well, tonight and tomorrow night, tremendous show at Green Hall. Lyle Lovett and his acoustic group.
Oh, wow.
So this isn't the same setup as his large band, but Lyle, who was born right here in Houston and has traveled the world, won multiple Grammys himself. To get to see him at Green Hall is very special, and that'll be tonight and tomorrow night down in New Braunfels. You can see Lyle Lovett and his acoustic group.
Big tall
Green
Lyle
Hall.
might hit his head on the roof there. That's a little short roof there at once you get up on that stage.
Just depends on his hairstyle.
Right.
If he's really going large with the hair, then he'll be scraping the roof. Lyle's awesome, and we've obviously had a chance to work with him many times on Austin City Limits, and he is such a gentleman and such a nice and clever and funny person, as you would imagine from his lyrics, but really a true pleasure to work with, and just one of I think the most liked people in the business. When you get a chance to work with Lyle Lovett, that's a special thing, and to see him at Green Hall would be a really, really good show for the next 2 nights. Another band that's in town for 2 nights is Death Cab for Cutie. They formed back in the late 80s at Western Washington University in Bellingham, Washington, and they played around the Pacific Northwest for a while, and then they got a couple songs on a show called The OC, and they kind of blew up from there and really became superstars. And Death Cab for Cutie are going to be headlining ACL Live at the Moody Theater 2 nights, Thursday and Friday night. Another artist who's played multiple nights around town is our own Dale Watson. He's going to be at the Broken Spoke and the Continental Club and a few other places around town for the week. So if you're a fan of Dale Watson, check out his website, get out and see him. But I recommend seeing him Friday night at the Broken Spoke. Is always a great place to see Dale Watson. He's very much at home there. And you can see the one and only Dale Watson in town at a great honky tonk right here in Central Texas, the Broken Spoke. We've also got Valentine's Day coming up and a couple good shows. I'm a big fan of the Parker Jazz Club, and they are going to be hosting what they call the Funny Valentine Show, and that is the house band there, but they have a wonderful vocalist, Jennifer Johnson. She's going to be performing on Friday night, and then I think they're going to do this multiple nights leading up to Tuesday's Valentine's Day. But 2 shows a night, 7:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. Great date night. Go out and grab a good dinner, see a jazz show. Very romantic, beautiful room to enjoy jazz. Great listening room. So highly recommend the Parker Jazz Club this week for their Valentine show. We've also got Shaky Graves, Austin High's own Shaky Graves. It's Shaky Graves Day and in Austin, and on Friday, February 10th, and he's going to be performing at the Scoot Inn, and he's bringing some special guests along. So that one is worth checking out as well. We always talk about Bob Schneider and the ladies, right? And
yes.
His Valentine show is a tradition here in Austin, and this year his Valentine show is actually going to be on Saturday, February 11th, this Saturday, at ACL Live at the Moody Theater. Bob Schneider, and he's bringing along the Tosca strings. So it's Bob at his romantic best with the string section. Great way to again enjoy a nice Valentine's date night with your sweetheart and see some Bob Schneider, and he gets them going. Bob is a tremendous performer, and a lot of great songs. He's been doing it for years. So that's a recommended show for sure this week. And we got Mardi Gras coming up. So Mardi Gras Bash, and 2 great ones at Antone's on Saturday night. CJ Chenier and Marcia Ball. CJ Chenier is the son, King of Zydeco, Clifton Chenier, and he's been holding down that tradition. And then Marcia Ball, also out of Louisiana, inducted recently into the ACL Hall of Fame, and she's just incredible on the keys. That's a really good show at Antone's on Saturday night. And then we move into next week, a couple good shows with Lost Lonely Boys at the Paramount Theater. That's going to be a good show. And then, this K-pop has taken over the world. Obviously, BTS is pretty much the biggest thing in the world. They're on hiatus, but there's a band called P1 Harmony, or they're also known as P1H, 6 young men from Korea who come together in a boy band, and obviously they're hugely successful. They're going to be at ACL Live at the Moody Theater on Valentine's Day. I also recommend Heartburn on Valentine's Day. David Byrne and Talking Heads tribute band. They're a lot of fun. And then a really cool band up and coming out of Louisville, Kentucky. If you haven't heard White Reaper, they're one that you need to check out. Really cool band. They're going to be at the Scoot Inn. So a couple good shows on Valentine's Day itself, Tuesday. But if you want to get out and see some other shows like Bob Schneider or the Parker Jazz Club shows, you really can start celebrating Valentine's Day on Friday this year and kind of go right through Tuesday. Sometimes you can't get dinner reservations on the actual Valentine's Day. So go out on Saturday night, get a dinner reservation.
Restaurant owners love Valentine's Day on a Tuesday because everybody goes out on Tuesdays, but they also fill up the weekend, and they hate it when the Valentine's Day falls on like a Friday. It's going to be a crowded night anyhow. They love it when it's a Tuesday. But good stuff right there, Tom. You got the Super Bowl. You got Valentine's Day. You've got Mardi Gras starting up, all coming together here on a fun weekend. Looking forward to the Super Bowl, and we'll certainly get your thoughts on it next week. And good luck to your Eagles. I know the Chiefs fans are all fired up too. Look forward to just a heck of a game on Sunday night.
I think it's going to be a great game. But, yeah, go Birds, fly Eagles 5. Let's see if we can bring another one home. I like this team. I think Jalen Hurts is special. And when a team is together, not to say that the Chiefs aren't, but there feels like there's something special about this particular group of guys, and they may only be together for one season because there's so many free agents on this team, and man, they've put together a heck of a roster. So it'll be fun to see. I'm really looking forward to it.
Last thing, Tom, how about Willie Nelson, Bonnie Raitt, and Ozzy Osbourne winning Grammys? That was pretty cool.
That was cool. And you got to remember, the folks who vote for the Grammys are not 18 years old. They are industry professionals who've been around for a long time. And I think I mentioned that you and I talked about how much we love that Spoon record. And I said, watch out for Ozzy, though, because, the industry knows Ozzy and they kind of have that reference for someone who's done it for so long and is so special. And I think that's what you saw with Bonnie Raitt and with Willie. You see the respect of their peers. This is not a popularity contest or a mass audience vote. This is professionals who work in the business who are NARIS members who vote, and that's why you see some of these choices. They're really awards of respect, and not just looking at what they've done this year or this song or this album, but what they've done for the entirety of their career.
Great stuff, Tom. Appreciate it. Enjoy the game. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good, E. Take care.
Tom Gimbel, general manager of the iconic ACL TV show, and a big Eagles fan, too. We'll be back. B&E with you. Viking Fence, there it is. We remind you with that Viking horn, the quality, the reliability, the workmanship on every Viking fence, and that's been the case for 50 years. Remind you all the time, Viking is the only company in town that have their own on-site lumber mill producing the different grades of the Western Red Cedar. They're only company and fence company you'll find with the pre-staining commitment for that equipment for that Western Red Cedar. So they with that Ready Seal stain, so it comes in with the highest quality, but also pre-stained and ready to go. Whether they're doing it for you or you want to get your supplies at Viking, they have their own on-site gate fabrication facility, their own custom iron facility. I mean, these are all ways in which they've invested over the last 50 years to control the quality of the product. They control the raw material from front to back, so they bring you the most value and the highest quality. That's a guarantee no one else can make to you. And that's a promise. If you've lost a fence or have damage to your fence from the recent ice storms and tree limbs, make sure you're calling Viking Fence because they can do that too. From full new fences to repairs on your current fence, iron fences, gates, and handrails, wood fences, of course, for your home or business. No one does it better than Viking Fence. 837-6411. Find them online at vikingfence.com. And always remember, in Central Texas, when you think fence, there's one name. It's a Viking Fence. Over the hump on a midweek Wednesday. We're going to get you there to Super Bowl 57. Appreciate Tom Gimble. Appreciate Brian Billick. Appreciate Jerry Hamilton this morning, all jumping in, talking various things, Longhorns and Super Bowl and a little live music and the Grammys, and the Eagles in there as well. Buck, I saw this story trend this morning that 3.5 tons of cocaine were found floating in the Pacific Ocean. Tons.
Tons?
Apparently someone had dropped it. Smugglers.
Damn cocaine bear. He's hiding it somewhere.
Cocaine shark now.
Cocaine shark, yeah. That's not a good deal right there.
Yeah. 3.5 tons of cocaine. So I guess the smugglers had dropped it, anticipating that no one would find it and they could go pick it up. And nope, they found it.
It's found.
They found it. That's going to be a party.
You know, I had, I never told you the story of not only Fort Lauderdale and the poop deck, but also I was walking the beach of Fort Lauderdale Beach, and I came upon a bale of marijuana.
Ooh.
Up
In
on
the
the
water?
shoreline. And no, it washed up on the shore.
Nice. What'd you do?
I let the bale stay there.
Somebody said on the text line, that's mine.
Oh, yeah, hey, that's mine. You need to give me that back.
I thought you were going to say, what marijuana?
Yeah, no, oh, no.
What are you talking about, marijuana?
No, dude, if
There
you
was no
just smell
marijuana.
wet marijuana, it's worse than a wet dog.
That's gross.
Absolutely.
All right, well, parties everywhere, it appears. Hey, Kyrie Irving will make his debut for the Dallas Mavericks tonight against the LA Clippers. That should be interesting.
Yes, indeed.
First game with he and Luka. Also, there's some Big 12 hoops tonight. Iowa State, West Virginia will be playing this evening. Baylor and Oklahoma will be playing up in Waco in the 8 o'clock game tonight. Your number 2 team in the country, Houston Cougars, playing Tulsa. How about Tulsa? This is what I'm talking about with Houston and their easy schedule. They play Tulsa tonight, 5-17. That's a blowout. That's a blowout.
Yeah, they're going to get a rude awakening next year.
Rude awakening. Buck, enjoy your Wednesday. Stay
Thank you, man.
dry today. How rainy is it going to be for us today?
It's going to be like this all day long.
It might be a nap day.
Tomorrow a little bit warmer, and then Saturday start to get it warm up again. That warming trend again.
All right, everybody have a wonderful Wednesday. We'll do a Buck Off Thursday together tomorrow at 6 a.m. Hey, Jack, great job. Great
Thanks,
job,
Jack. Appreciate
Farrell,
it, buddy.
producing our show this morning. Light the Tower coming next. I keep calling him Jake.